Welcome. It is the first night of Marathon Week, and we are gathered around the Holler Goblin to do some spooky storytelling. And we're gonna tonight, guys. That's what we're here for. I've had 3 hours of sleep. Chris had 30 minutes of sleep. This is gonna be wild. How are you doing, Chris? How do you feel?
I am hanging in there. I am
Like a
ready.
hair in a biscuit. Yeah.
Yes,
All
exactly.
right, guys. Everybody's been wanting us to do extra nights, so I promised you guys we would do a marathon week once in a blue moon. So it is marathon week. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts. Let's get some people in here. Let's get this show started. Let me mute my phone so that it doesn't blast anybody's eardrums. Whew, it is or have a bad weather or it's close to us. There's also a chance I may have to shut down for the night due to inclement weather. Is that the word that the weatherman says? I believe it is. I don't know much about weather verbiage, but you guys know
It
what I
sounds
mean.
right.
Yeah, it's close enough. It'll do for now. I it's gonna be wild, guys. It's gonna be a wild night. Tornadoes. Yeah, there's like I don't know. The next door app said something about there was tornadoes in the area or something like that. I don't know. I don't look at the weather. I like to be surprised, so I just kind of wait and find out. Uh, Harry. Oh wow, Harry had a couple tornadoes up there. Did they touch down, Harry? Um, let's see. All right, guys. Everybody tap the screen. We got about 150 people in here, 151. Everybody tap, tap, tap. Send some snoop boops. Let's get the stream out into the FYP, and that way we get some people in here to tell some stories. Hopefully, it'll be a good night. Hopefully, we'll have some cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So,
If you're new, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so you let the tornado surprise you, huh?
Yeah, I like to be surprised. I don't want to know before it gets here. There's nothing I can do to stop it. Why would I, stress myself
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. You're not gonna be bothered to, look it up on the phone or anything. If you're
yeah,
sitting there, if you're sitting there in the living room and it just happens to pass by and tear off your roof, you're
yeah,
fine with that.
it is what it is. I mean, thank you, Misfit Mel. Appreciate that. Guys, if you're new here, we usually gather on Sunday and Monday nights. We're doing a marathon week this week, but we gather around the Holler Goblin and we tell ghost stories, paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories, glitch in the matrix stories. That Red Bull is kicking in. Woo, I'm gonna be sweating here in a minute. But we want to hear your spookiest spooky story. A lot of people ask, we do ask that you, when you come up, you do mind your language a little bit. We want to stay well within the TikTok guidelines. We also ask that you try to share one story at a time, although we do kind of wing that. But we want to try to give everybody a chance to come up and tell their stories. So, you can come up, tell a story, come back later, tell a story. That's how we like to do it so we can keep it moving. So the guest box is open. If you guys want to hop up, let's see this feller. Let's see what they've got to say. I'm tired, guys. Wow. Hello, Red Jones. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going tonight?
It's all right. How about you?
Not too bad. I started following you probably about a month and a half ago, and I was really enjoying everybody's stories and remembered one from when I was younger, and just didn't have the time to get on that night. So I'm able to tonight, and I want to share this story. So when I was younger, I was about seventh, eighth grade. So it was before any controlled substances. So I was not in any hallucination mode or anything like that. I was at a friend's get together at their house. We were having bonfire and just kind of relaxing, and we had finished that up and went into the house, and everybody was just kind of sitting around, and unbeknownst to me at the time, I actually suffered from seizures. Well, I kind of blanked out, and the next thing that I can remember is I was standing on the porch, or not porch, well, yeah, kind of the porch. She had a patio that went to a wraparound porch for her swimming pool, and I'm staring at the water, and I'm looking across, and I see somebody standing on the other side of the pool. Well, everybody's kind of standing around me because the way that I got off of the couch and just kind of walked out of the house and proceeded to go to the pool, they just thought was really odd. So they all followed me poolside. So I'm standing there, and they're all like, Red, are you okay? Is everything all right? And I'm just kind of looking around, and I'm like, yeah, everything's fine, but who's that lady over there? And they're like, what lady? And I said, the lady right over there. Who is that? Is that a relative of yours? And the girl whose party it was, she said, what lady? I don't see anybody. So I'm starting to kind of get tense, get excited, and I'm kind of getting nervous now because it's bringing back a lot of memories for me. And so then they're just trying to calm me down, and I'm starting to get agitated. And then from behind this lady walks this little boy, and I'm like, all right, nobody sees this lady, and now nobody sees this boy. And everybody goes, no, there's no boy. And I'm giving the description of this boy. Well, the thing that just really floored me was the little boy was missing both of his middle fingers. As soon as I said that, the girl that was having the party, she starts breaking down crying, and she just, nobody could calm her down. And I'm like, what am I looking at here? Can somebody explain to me what this is? And she goes in the house, so we all follow after her, and she's sitting on the couch, and she's just bawling. She finally calmed down enough. The little boy that I was seeing was her cousin, and when he was younger, he was in the woods not far from their house. To the best of my knowledge, and she wasn't able to tell me too much because it was something that her family had kind of kept from everyone. He was in the woods, and these guys came into the woods, and the little boy was, mouthy for, 10, 11 years old. And he was giving them the finger, and he was cussing at them. They cut his fingers off and killed him. And I described this boy to the T. Her mother came home. She was, trying to figure out what was going on. She sat me down at the table, had me, describe the kid from top to bottom. And it was the little boy. And after that, for the longest time, probably up until about 10, maybe 15 years ago, whenever something was about to happen to me in my life, that lady would appear. I would see her somewhere in a crowd. If I was just, walking down the street, I could, just look somewhere and see this lady. And it messed me up for a long time because there was only so many people I could talk to because I was frightened that I was going to end up put in a home.
Wow, that is. At first, I thought you were going in the direction of that story. Chris, what is the name of that story from last night with the lady with the pool?
Oh, yeah, like that night swim type of thing.
Yeah, I remember we had a couple stories about that last night. That's where I thought that was going, but that took a turn. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely held me for a long time, and there was literally only five people, including that girl's mother, that I could talk to and kind of try to work through it. But just the fact that I don't know, it was like I said, when things would go kind of sideways in my life, I would see the woman before it happened. So one of my youngest kids was born premature, and before my ex went into labor, I saw her like 3 days prior. And when I saw her, I knew that something was about to happen and it was not going to be good. And then as soon as that happened, it just reaffirmed it for me. And it was, like I said, it's probably been about 10, maybe 15 years since I've seen her. So I think I'm doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Sounds like it.
Oh,
Yeah,
she was
so you're
definitely giving me messages.
yeah, so you're not sure who the woman is. You just know that you see her when you're about to experience something.
Yeah, yeah, and the people that do know, they've told me that more or less, not to think of it in the negative, but that it could be a guiding presence, spirit, ghost, whatever, that is just preparing me. So it's kind of like, instead of just suddenly wham, something bad happens to you. When I would see her, I would automatically get on heightened awareness and just be prepared for whatever was about to be dealt. And it really, like I said, it held me for a long time in a negative way, but towards the end, it wasn't that bad.
Hmm.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
interesting.
So I really appreciate you guys letting me get that off my chest. I've been holding it for a while.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you for sharing it with us. We really do.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said we really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I hope everybody has a great night, and just remember, not everything that happens is not meant to happen. So,
Alrighty, thank you.
yep.
Thank you.
Alright.
All
All right,
right.
everybody. Tap, tap, tap. We got to get out into the atmosphere of the TikTok so that we can get to lots of people. Woo!
Yeah.
That Red Bull. Woo! Woo! Don't drink Red Bull
Yeah.
on 3 hours of sleep, guys. It's wild.
Oh, I won't.
I know you won't. Chris won't drink caffeine. I was telling him all day. I was like, "Get you some coffee. Just get you a big old cup of coffee." And he's like, "I'll explode."
Yeah. I got some chocolate milk
Yeah.
here. Yeah, I'm a
All right, guys. Let's bring up Chief and see what Chief's up to tonight. Yeah, let's get that number up, guys. Tippity tap, snoot boops. Hello, Chief.
Okay. Okay, ni dani ko sini stapi. Ni am skapi pikani. How you all doing tonight? You
good.
know, you know that's not healthy to do that to your body. We're not getting any younger, honey. Our bodies are they get older. It's the way we're built. And you are running on jet fuel, and you're not a jet no more.
True.
You know, I got that very first time told when I was about 30. I had my daughter, and she was one day she was kind of running around, and we were playing, and I ran out of breath. And I was like, what the heck is going on with me? Because, before you could run and play and drink and fight and whatnot. And I got done. I came in, I sat down, I woke up at 9 o'clock that night. I took a nap. I ain't never taken a nap in a long time, so I knew that father time had finally caught me in a tail. I was listening to that last one. It was good. It's true. We all assume that whenever we hear them or see them, that they're bad things, but they're not always bad things. Sometimes they're just messages. And my dad, he was blessed, as my grandma would say. He was blessed. I don't know if did I ever tell you guys the story how he got his Indian name? Did I tell
Don't
you
think
guys?
so.
Yeah, I think
No.
so. So my dad, our people, they have what they call Indian names, and there's a lot of different ways, a lot of things that people say they are. Well, before they were rite of passage for our young people to be named. When you get named, you when you pray and you pray that name that you was given. That's the name that they'll hear you. They'll identify you as. And there's so many different ways those names are given. Um, Sometimes the elder that's given that name, they pick it, or sometimes it'll be a family name, or sometimes an event that'll happen that you never ever ever seen happens. And so this is going to be two-part story, but it's one story but two parts, and there'll be three parts. My dad, my daughter's grandpa, on my he's Many Heights. He's from Browning, and he was blessed. He was given the sight, and it wasn't always good sight. He always there's a story I'll tell you later, but this is just the one how it starts. So at one time or another, our people, we didn't live alone. We each had our own little teepee, our own personal space, but we never lived alone because we were all family, we were all community, and we all lived together. We did it out of protection, out of love. Nowadays they'd probably call us hippie communes, what they would call us. But we were very in tune, and we put on this earth to be guardians, protectors. We were supposed to be there to protect. And so in doing so, we were given the ability to talk to holy people. I always tell people this whenever I talk. I tell them I'm not Christian. I'm a firm believer in our old ways. And the old ways is that there's these holy people, what people call spirits, walking amongst us. And we can't hear them no more, not like we used to. But one day it will be, when things change, and there'll be a change, we'll start seeing them and hearing them, and we'll freak the hell out. Our stories that we talk about now won't mean nothing. So, my dad, my family on that side, lived together in this house. And this is how the story was told to me. And we were all, like I said, they were all one family. And there was my grandpa, my great grandpa, my dad's dad, dad's dad, 3 times removed. And so he was, as he got older, he lost his sight. So he was blind. He would sit there and he was just happy being where he was. And he would always just like the world, he could hear what the world was talking about. And the family would always check on him. Dad, how are you? He'd look at him and says, I'm blind. I'm not deaf. And so they eventually they quit screaming at him. And they'd always ask him, Dad, what are you doing? And he says, oh, nothing. I'm just listening. I'm trying to hear him again. So he would sit there day in and day out and he'd smoke. And he was just happy to be alive. And then one day, it was about midsummer. My dad was born midsummer. He was like, can you hear you? Hey, listen. Start getting this house cleaned up. Pick it up. Clean it now. And they all kind of looked at themselves and like, oh, you should. Why, Dad? Just get done, please. Clean the house. So they start picking it up, sweeping and mopping and everything. They all got it done. And just as they got done, and they kind of looked at him and says, Dad, why did you do that? Because that old man had never done that. He just, like I said, he just sat there. And he looked at him like he's seen them, and he says, yellow dust is coming home. And he said, yellow dust? Everybody back then, they all knew each other's Indian name. Who's Yellow Dust? Oh, you don't know no Yellow Dust, Dad. Yes, you will. Just wait. So they were sitting there, and they says, okay, you make sure everything's ready. So they were sitting there, and they were being anxious, and they kept wanting to ask that old man who Yellow Dust was. Well, just as after a while, the door opens, and that old man, he looks over again, blind for a long time, like he sees this person walk in, and he says, "Okay, okay, okay." He's basically calling him his grandson. How are you? How are you, Yellow Dust? And they all look at each other, like, who's Yellow Dust? And he says, he's right there. And he points at this bundle in my grandma's arms. And he's like, oh, Dad, how do you know? He says, those old ones, those spirits told me. Didn't you see him come in? And I look at him, he's like, Dad, there wasn't nobody that come in. You've been alone that whole time. I said, well, they still came in. And they're the ones that told me to tell you to clean this house and get it ready, because Yellow Dust is coming home. And my grandma and all them, and that's the name that my dad had for his Indian name, was Yellow Dust. And that name was given to him by the holy high people, the spirits. Powerful name, my dad, and he was blessed. I sure miss him sometimes. That's one story. How my dad got his Indian name from the holy people. Second one was, like I said, this I'm trying to keep them as short and sweet as I can. This is all one story about names. The second one was, we were sitting in Belcourt, North Dakota, middle of the summer, and the house that we was in, it was near a swamp, so it was stink. It was humid, and there was mosquitoes, and so we couldn't sleep. We were like, oh God. And we were sitting there, and we they didn't have cable where we were at. They didn't have anything. It was just bare bones. It was a starter for a new couple. And so we were sitting there, and then finally, me and Natalie, I kind of look at her and I say, hey, let's name our baby. And she kind of looked at me like I was nuts. How do you know? What do you mean name this baby? They're not even here yet. And I was like, well, we'll just see. And I told her what we'll do is we'll go through all these names. And whenever name baby kicks on, that's his or her name. And she thought about it, and I was like, what the hell? What can we lose? There's because we ain't never come up with names yet for baby. And so I figured it was time to get ready, because it's for me, it's one of the biggest things is when you name a baby. Because babies are, they're important to us. And if you don't name them, they get lost. So we start going through the whole line of names. We must have went through about 30 names. We got into the name, and I started thinking of this name in my head. And I was thinking of the aspen tree. I said, well, how about Aspen? And then my friend, one of my best friends, her name was Dawn. I told her, well, how about Aspen Dawn? And just as we said that, you could see her stomach kicked really hard. He says, well, baby says, yeah. And that was the only, of all those names we had gone through, that's the name she kicked on. But we didn't know what baby was, and I didn't want to know. I'm old fashioned. I believe that if whatever, the Creator gives us, that's what they give us. So we didn't know she was a girl. Well, come birthday, we were sitting there, and baby, we finally got done, and she come out, and it was a girl, and that's the name we gave her. It was Aspen Dawn Many Heights, and she's one of the few babies in this world that picked her own name. And if you meet my daughter, you know she's an Aspen because she didn't grow into her name. Her name grew into her. So there's there's that. And I'm trying to remember the rest of the story, the last one I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
About
I
it.
agree with the comments. That is a pretty name, by the way.
Yeah. Aspen Dawn Many Heights. So my granddaughter's name was Maddie Cookieson Fox. Cookieson means moon. So my grandma, I love her very much, raised me. We were sitting there one day, and we were sitting ceremony. We were getting Indian names. We were getting Indian names for our family. And I got I got up there, and I looked at him. I said, "Well, I want to give my daughter this name, Sugaki." And Sugaki was my grandmother's name, my great great grandmother's name. But we were all fighting for that name, Sugaki. And he's like, "No." And finally, out of nowhere, my grandma says, "No, no, I want her to have my mom's name, her grandma's, her great grandma's, my grandma Kate." And she told her, she says, "I want her to have her Indian name. Her Indian name is Istai." And it was deep diving. It's like all those animals that dive deep to hunt, to splash into water, to enjoy life. That's her name. Is it's deep diving. When she prays to not do ye, that's who she prays to. Is not to ye. That's the name. And so and she's my miracle baby because we were not supposed to have children, but she's the one child that come to us, and that's because the Creator gave her to us. She named herself, and then she was named after a great woman, and that's my daughter. Proud of her because she's a teacher now. She's raising my granddaughter the old ways. She hasn't had her baptized. She takes her to ceremony, and they go out and they hunt root medicine and all this other stuff. And they live the old way. Oh, thank you for listening to my stories.
Thank you for sharing them with us. As always, we appreciate you so much, Chief. Bloop bloop. Those little bloops. That was funny. Sorry guys, I going on no sleep. Me and Chris both. So things like bloops, I don't know. They just. All right,
Holy
guys,
smokes!
tap the
Somebody,
screen. Huh?
yeah. I was just gonna say somebody's tapping the heck out of the screen.
Well, whoever that person is, they are awesome.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it? Wait,
me.
is it you? Is it you? Yeah.
No, well, I am now, but yeah, I had seen the hearts going crazy on the screen, so
Oh, thank you, Holly, and thank you all for the gifts. I
yeah.
think I saw Harry and Holly,
And
and several
Tina,
others. Tina, yeah, thank you all. Appreciate that. All right, guest box is open. We need more spooky stories. We got to get back on the FYP. Get out there, get some people. We got to lure them in with the holler goblin, so we can all gather around and tell spooky stories. If you're new here, We do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial, cryptid, unexplained, glitch in the matrix, weird stuff in general. We just want to hear the scariest thing that's ever happened to you, your spookiest spooky story, if you will. That's what we want to hear. So definitely jump in the box, come up, share your story with us. Don't be nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. We're um
Yeah.
we're lovely ghouls, spooky yet lovely. So nothing to be nervous about.
We're just
Um,
we're just gathering around the campfire, telling ghost stories. That's all we're doing here. Nothing too deep. Nothing too serious.
yeah. And the original Boo Crew who used to come to the old streams here, you might remember I used to have a background with a little campfire and a whole bunch of little ghosts sitting around the campfire in the woods.
Yeah.
Holly, lovely ghouls. We are lovely ghouls. Bigfoot is from
Well,
another dimension.
yeah.
Bigfoot is cool, man. I think I don't know. Maybe he's not cool. Maybe he's terrible. I don't know. What do I know? I know absolutely nothing. That's why I want you guys to come up here and tell me stories so then I will know the things that you know. Looks like we got. Oh, Chief is back.
I figured I might as well more because I got to go to bed early because I dialysis in the morning. So we all live, we all breathe, we all where we live under the what we call not to ye creator, the sun, and we worship him, we follow him. Um, everybody's got their way of worshiping a higher power. There's Jesus Christ, the Son of God. There's Yahweh. There's there's Loki. I mean, not Loki, but what's his name? The old man. Thor's dad. Him. I mean, everybody has their way of worshiping, different ways of doing it. And our people, we worship through the sun. And this is a story. This was told to me by my ex. This is something that had happened to her, and it's affirmation of what the world, what the creator. No, I won't tell that story. That's too personal. But I'll tell you one of my own about when the first time after my life had been turned upside down. I'd lost my dad, and I was looking for direction. I didn't know what to do because the we didn't have a lot of at that time when my reservation, there weren't therapists. We didn't know what therapists were. We didn't know what mental health was. We were just the old way, like rub some dirt on it, get up, brush yourself off, rub some dirt on it, and let's get going. And we didn't know, that it was all right to cry, to feel, to all this stuff because we were raised in that toxic masculine world. And it's sure hard when you're like that because you don't know how to live. And so I was sitting there and I just lost my dad. And I was missing him a lot, and I felt like I needed to do something because it wasn't just me that was grieving. It was my grandma, my auntie, all of them. They grieved for my dad. And my dad was a really good man. And he was loved, and he was, like I said, he was blessed. And he was, to this day, I still tell my daughter, it's like, I wish he'd have been alive to see you. He would have loved you. You guys would have been fighting all the time, but he would have still loved you even more because you got fire. My dad, he was part of this movement that loved the earth, and he did whatever he could. So, like I said, he was blessed, but it wasn't always a good good thing for him. One day he was sitting with my auntie and my cousin. And they were having a good old time, you know. And I'm going to be honest with you. They had imbued, you know, drinks, and they did other stuff. And so they, you know, they were sitting there and they were enjoying themselves, laughing and joking and all this stuff. And then all just like out of nowhere, my dad stops. And they're like, Levi. And my dad, he had this look on his face, like he couldn't see anything. He was just looking, and he had that 1,000-mile stare, and they were frightened. They were like, what's going on here? What's going on? And all of a sudden, my dad started talking. But it wasn't my dad. It was somebody else's voice coming from my dad. And it was spooky for them because they'd never seen that, you know. But they knew, they kind of figured out something was there. And all of a sudden my dad started talking. And he started talking about family. And one of them, and then he said this one thing, he said, one of our family members is going to die a tragic death. He's going to die a car wreck. And when they get that car wreck, they're going to blame him for it, but it wasn't him. He didn't drive, and that wreck, it will take his life, and they will blame him for the rest of for as long as they know. They will always try to blame him, and he'll die soon. When they says they thought they were done, then he goes and it starts happening one more time. He stops again, and he gets this look on his face, and they were just like, they were scared. Because, you know, we don't see this every day. And they were like, Levi, hey man, behave. Knock it off. Quit messing around. Because my dad liked to joke. And it was just like they were trying to move him. And he was a rock. And all of a sudden that voice come again. And he kind of looked around, and he told him, he kind of got sad, and he says, I'm going to die soon. I'm going to leave. And when I leave, it's going to be very, very tragic. It's going to be unnatural almost. And when I leave, the person that did it will be my best friend. Pretty soon. He says, oh, I'm gonna spend my life here as long as I can and enjoy what I can. And all of a sudden, he wakes up. It's like he woke up. And they were just scared because they never seen this, you know. And what it was that my dad had predicted the death of my cousin. And sure enough, they blamed him for that wreck. And he wasn't even driving. And then the death of my dad, he got murdered. I mean, unlived by his best friend. But that was, you know, it was tragic. And he'd been sick once before, and he was sick twice. First at that time with that curse, and then he had cancer that was given to him by Indian medicine. So either way, he would have had to fight his life. And so when he left, he had predicted his own leaving of this world. And he was always had that kind of thing go on. He always had little things happen that was part of the holy people watching him. There was a story one time he was going up on this pass. They call it Looking Glass. He was going, and it's a winding road. It's almost collapsed now, but he was going around. It was about mid spring, wet roads, and he had this pickup. He was going good. He said. He says, and he don't even remember. He says all he remembers is blanked out, and he falls over the side of the cliff of that looking glass. He said he fell 25, 30 feet in that pickup. And he said, I would have gone to the next world if not for a little tree. You know how trees grow out on the side of the building, our side of the cliff. And that's all that was holding this big old truck was that tree. So he looked around. My dad was nuts. He said, "Oh," he thought about it. He says, "Oh, I need to go home. I'm just dirty and all this other stuff." So he climbs out the back window of the truck. And my grandma and them, they get a call from the cops. Virginia, you need to come over here and come get your son. He went over the edge. We can't find him. Oh, my grandma and them were just crying because they thought he'd left. So they drive up there to the scene of the crash. And they said, they looking down there, all looking down there. My dad walks up behind him. He kind of starts looking down there. You see my truck right there, huh? Oh, he got so much trouble because he told him because he thought he died in that car. Here he climbed out and he went into his partners and grabbed a beer and he came back over. And that's the kind of life my dad lived. It was either tragic or comic. But he was always a happy man in this world until the last of his days. So, it's a story about my dad. My hero, but still scared the hell out of me because I was his son. Thank you for listening tonight. Get a good
Yeah, thank you.
Get to God coming.
See you around, Chief. Thanks for coming up. All right, guys. Let's see what Mick. Yeah, sorry to say Mickey. It's Mick. I don't know if
Hello.
it's going to connect.
Um,
Oh, I think he's gone. Okay,
yeah.
Mickey, if you're still out there, or Mick, sorry, Sleepy. If you're still out there in TikTok land, feel free to re-request if you would like. In the meantime, guest box is open, guys. Let's get somebody up here to tell some spooky stories. Tell us something, Chris.
Well, I'm tired. I can tell you that.
Somebody says
But
they saw a wolf man.
a wolf
Uh,
man.
Yeah, get up here and tell us. Get in the box. Come up, tell us your story. We want
Well,
to
I
hear about your
think
wolf man sighting.
yeah, they can't come up.
Oh, really?
No,
Oh,
we haven't
sending
plugged
chilies
the.
until Chris does the chip challenge. Uh-oh.
Oh, who said that?
Tully.
Oh,
You don't have to have 1,000. You just have to have 200.
yeah.
So if you have 200 and you're at least 18 years of age, feel free to hop in the box. Tell us a spooky story. We would love to hear it. What kind of
I
night do you
heard
think it's going to be? Is it going to be a UFO night, or is it going to be like a ghost story night?
UF no. Um,
UFO.
yeah. I don't know. I'm not too sure yet. We had one last night. Was it last night that we had the UFO? Or was that the day before? I can't remember now.
I think it was last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not too
Mostly
sure, but
ghostly. Yeah, Holly, that's what I think too. I think it's gonna be a ghost story night. I think we're gonna get a lot of ghost stories. I'd like to
Hopefully, yeah.
hear, let's see, TikTok bots. I would like to hear some stories about big old creepy haunted houses in Louisiana, maybe, or anywhere really. But yeah, that would be cool.
I guess we're gonna have to do if we don't get any stories, we're gonna have to do like a best of night tonight. Now imagine.
Shadow people. Yeah, we always get so many shadow people stories. It's really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Red, we appreciate you for sure.
What
Ouija
about
board
you?
stories. Yeah, that would be cool. What is it?
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna ask you. I mean, I guess since we're waiting right now for somebody to come up, what are some of your favorite stories that you've heard on here that you can think of off the top of your head? If you can even think right now, I know you're kind of running on fumes.
I
No?
am. Yeah, definitely running on fumes. Can't think very
Yeah.
well. You know, when I think of the stream in
Uh-huh.
recent times, I always think of that one lady who came up and talked about walking down that highway and something was following her. And she
Right.
could hear it walking alongside her, walking through the weeds, through the trees, and then the car pulls up and they're like, "You need a ride." And she's like, "No, I don't." And they're like, "Get in the car, you need a ride." And then once she gets in the car, she asks like, "Did you guys see something following me?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we saw it." I think that story will stick with me forever, honestly. Like I don't know, that one really got me for sure.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Um, I think last night I heard some of my favorite stories. We had the one that Spooky told about the child spirit, and that one was really creepy. Which one are you talking about, Werewolf? I guess he's talking about the one that you were just talking about.
Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, last night we had some of my favorite ones.
Yeah. That gave me nightmares. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was a lot. It was intense for sure.
Yeah, and then the two stories that that other girl told last night with the pool,
Hmm.
and then with La Llorona, was that those were really good.
Werewolf, I don't think she ever knew what was following her out there on the highway, but the
Yeah.
guy who picked her up in the car, he said he saw it. And honestly, from the description, not saying that it is, but it kind of sounded a lot like a gray alien, like the stereotypical description of like a tall gray. That's what it sounded like to me. I don't know. I guess, you can interpret it different ways. Um,
Right. Sarah, should I just pin this comment I have that I spam about the about joining the box, or what do you think?
You can if you want to, but I think TikTok changed the pinned comment stuff. I think it only stays pinned for like a few minutes, so you might have to like redo it over and over.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, so if you want, you can do it, but it may not stay on there for very long.
Well, I don't even know how to do it, actually.
Comment and then tap and hold, and I believe you'll get the option to pin the comment.
Well, that's what I tried that, and I don't see the option. Can you do it?
I should be able to.
Pin that comment for me, please.
Okie dokie. When I see it, I don't see it.
Um, it's just you don't see it.
No.
Oh no. Let me try do let me do it again. Hold on. Don't tell me that my comments haven't even been showing up this whole time. That would be crazy. All right, I just did it.
Okay. I cannot pin that comment.
Okay. Oh, that's all right. I mean, I guess we have the backdrop, right? So we don't really need it.
That's weird. Maybe they got rid of the pinned comment thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's see what kind of spooky story we got here.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello?
welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I got a crazy story from when I was a kid.
Okay.
So, me and my friend were camping. His grandparents had a huge property, right? And it was just like grass, like lots of mowing for his grandpa. And at the very edge of the grass was a woods, like thick woods. And so we were too scared to go into the woods, so we would like camp out right on the edge, right? So we were like safe, but we kind of were in like some dark, crazy woods. And we were doing our thing. We did it a few times, but he had an older cousin who was like, we were probably 13, 14, and his older cousin was like 18, 19. So he was like super cool, right? And he would show up and we'd all go smoke cigarettes and walk around. And so he showed up and we were like, oh, cool, and he was like, let's go walk around town. This was a town in Indiana that was like 300 people total. And I left my shoes and my socks back at the campsite. So they said, "Oh, we're gonna go." So I booked it. It was probably like 300 yards, long ways through this yard. And I go back there and I reach down and I grab my shoes and my socks and I look up and behind the tree, I shit you not, was a guy who kind of looked like Nosferatu. Like he had no hair. He was completely bald. He was super pale. And he was like reaching around the tree and he was staring at me. And like his eyes were like mercury. Like they like reflected the fire and me, and he looked so evil. It just made me like terrified. And I ran as fast as I could back to my friends. And we all went back and looked and he wasn't there anymore.
And that was it? He just disappeared?
Yeah, he just disappeared. But I've just to this day I'm like I don't know what that was. I don't know, like he was the most evil, sinister thing I've ever seen in my life. And like I shit you not, he had like long fingers with like nails. Like he looked completely evil and demonic. And he was literally like a movie. He was like crawling around the side of a tree and like leaning out and looking at me. And he had all these weird, like, his teeth were like, they were sharp, but there was like way too many teeth. It was terrifying. So I just wanted to share that.
Wow, that is my first guess was a hairless Sasquatch, but I guess maybe that's not the answer.
Right? I thought like, oh, maybe it's some like old hermit like living in the woods, but like I've never seen eyes like that. Like his eyes were like liquid mercury, like, and he was probably 10 feet away from me, and he leaned out like his neck and his head, and he like smiled at me, and I was like, I've never been scared that much in my whole life. Like I ran, like a fucking Olympic sprinter. I booked it back because it was the scariest shit. And to this day, like I don't know, like to me, it kind of feels like he was a vampire, or something. He had like. Have you ever seen people with like baby teeth, like a grown adult, but they have like little tiny baby teeth? It's rare, but yeah, that's what he had. He had way too many teeth in his mouth, and they were all really small and sharp. It was crazy. So yeah.
Pretty wild. We appreciate you sharing with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
I am getting attacked by a cat. He is fighting me to get in my lap, and he's just going to barrel on top of me and like break my legs, break his legs. Oh, Phew, Lord Bean, go lay down with your mother. Please don't. Please. I need the skin on my legs. This cat is so mean to me, guys. He just tramples me. I swear. It's awful. He's so spoiled. It's like he wants to be held, and I'm like, no, maybe not right now. And he's like, right now, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's go ahead and do that then. All right, let's get up our next guest. Everybody tap the screen, send some snoot boops.
Hi.
Well, hello, welcome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I heard you guys had a lot of shadow people stories from yesterday, but I have so many. I'll just tell you the best one that I have. Um, when I was little, I would see shadow people probably, I don't know, it's hard to gauge how often I would see them, but it seemed like multiple times a week. I used to have nightmares almost nightly and sleep paralysis. I don't know why I went through so much, but I think it might have been because of the house I grew up in, because my mom still lives there and she still hears things and experiences things. But I'll tell you the one that sticks out the most. So one night I was on the top bunk, that's where I slept, and I had two others, I still do, two other sisters. And my middle sister was on the bottom bunk, and my baby sister was in the crib. And I just woke up like I would. This generally is how it would happen. I just wake up for no apparent reason in the middle of the night. I didn't really hear a noise or anything that I know of. I would just wake up. And I looked, and right around my sister's crib, because her crib was in our room, were two figures that looked like shadows, but they looked like my parents, which was weird. But they were fully dressed, which, I was really young. I don't know how old. I think about maybe 7, 8. And I still thought in my mind, it's weird that they're fully dressed. Like, why are they dressed in the middle of the night? And on top of it, my mom's hair was all curled up, it was all perfectly done. And also they were extra tall. It was like abnormally tall and skinny too. Not that my parents were like way overweight, but that was just like extra skinny. And the other thing I noticed was that they're so quiet. Like they would sit there and they were walking around my sister's crib, not making any noise at all, which I also thought was weird because at first I did think it was my parents. But then as they were like, these things were sticking out to me, I'm like, they're not my parents. And it was really weird because as soon as I realized you're not my parents, the one that looked like my mom turned and looked at me, and terror just like went through my entire body. Like I thought my heart was going to stop. But she had no face. There was no face. It was just black. But she had red lipstick on, which I did notice. And my mom used to wear red lipstick when she was younger, which was funny because when she had me, she didn't wear makeup and stuff. So it was like a younger version of my mom, which was really weird. And so she had this like I could see the dark red lipstick with the full lips, but nothing else, no eyes, no nothing. But I knew she was staring directly at me, like almost like into my soul. And she went like really close to my face, almost like she was going to go into my face. And I freaked out, so I put the covers over my head and praying to God it would go away. And I can't remember anything after that. I think another time that happened, I got up out of my bed, not quite where she was in my face like that, but where I saw the shadow people, and I jumped down out of my bunk bed and ran towards my parents' room, and they had this like alarm clock that had the red digital, numbers on it, like back in the yeah, I'm kind of dating myself, but back in the 90s or whatever, and you'd see these red digital clocks, and I was running towards that because it was the only light I could see at night. And as I was running towards it to tell my parents, and I couldn't speak, I couldn't yell. It was almost like paralysis in a sense, but I just couldn't make a noise. I'm running towards my parents' door, and I smacked something. It's almost like their door shut, but I don't know because I got knocked out. And I was just laying there, and I don't remember what happened after that. I think hours went by, and I think I remember getting up and going back to bed, but I can't quite remember that. But that was probably the thing that stuck out the most with the shadow people. Anyway.
Wow, that is very creepy for sure.
And I guess it happened a lot. And that's the worst incidences with the shadow people. But my sisters said that they seen them too, which I didn't know till much later in life that they like, oh, I seen them too. I seen them too. And I'm like, oh, okay. What the heck were they doing? I don't know. And like later I learned that about astral projection and things like that. I'm like, well, I hope there wasn't like weird people astral projecting into our houses, but it's really weird that they looked like my parents, which is like, what the heck is that? You know? I don't know.
Yeah, that is strange. Well, we appreciate
Yeah.
you for sharing that with us. That's really cool. Chris, did you have anything?
Oh no, I was just gonna say yeah, that's strange.
Yeah.
It is weird. But anyway, well, I'll let someone else talk. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming up. Very cool. I think it's a shadow man. Not maybe, possibly. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I can't believe we're doing this right now, by the way. Is this real? Is this real life? I'm like pinching myself right now. I feel like I'm dreaming.
Yeah. I feel like it's Monday.
Yeah, I think that's why it feels so weird because I'm so used to doing Sunday, Monday now. Um, so yeah, this is feels a little odd, but I'm here for it.
We are here for it. Absolutely. All right, guys. Keep bringing them snoot boops on. The more snoot boops, the more people. Let's get James up here and see what James has got to tell us.
What's up, James?
Doesn't look like James is gonna. Oh, hello.
Hi. Hi, this is my actually first time ever doing something like this. This is my
Are you driving?
uh no, I'm talking through my cell phone. Well, just a
Okay.
minute, let me turn my radio off. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was my radio interfering with my phone. Um, well, for a little bit of black background, um, when I was a young teenager, I practiced the darker side of black magic, and I've kind of had stuff follow me all through my life, and I moved to a small town right after high school, going into college, and everything was okay. And just right after my birthday in June, I was laying in bed and I felt someone stand on my chest and then have a hand wrapped around my throat like I was being choked. And I started throwing punches trying to get this person off of me, where my hands weren't hitting anything. I'm grasping at stuff, trying to grab him to knock him off. Grabbed a Bible my mother gave me as a graduation gift, swung, and I connected with a solid object. And I just froze, and like a guttural growl of a voice told me I am not welcome to her and I need to leave. And I opened my eyes, the room was dark, I couldn't see anything, and I said, "In the name of Jesus, be gone." And the whole room just lightened up. After that, now remind it's June, it's like 100 degrees outside during the day. I had to wear, for 3 weeks, wear a scarf around my neck because there was black and blueprints of these long, spindly fingers wrapped around my neck for 3 weeks after this attack.
Wow. So you hit this thing with the Bible?
Yes, with a Bible my mom gave me, yes.
Oh, okay. Huh. That's interesting. I don't think we've ever heard anybody. I mean, we get stories like this a lot, but I don't think we've ever heard anybody say that they used the actual Bible, like, literally as a weapon. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I tell my friends about it all the time. and they don't believe me because of the fact I got a Bible to read this thing with, because just throwing regular punches upset nothing.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you.
Yeah, we
No,
can't hear you. Not sure what's going on. Um, James, are you with us?
yeah, I'm good. I don't know what's going on with my phone either.
Yeah, we can't hear you. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you. Maybe like fix your audio, come back or something like that. All right, guys, guest box is open. Come up and tell us something amazing. I want to hear your spookiest spooky story. Tell them, Chris. You tell them.
Yeah, somebody needs to come up here, or else Tina and Cat Mama are gonna start blocking people. We're gonna we're gonna block 10 people for every
No, we're
minute.
not. No, we're not. Because I don't want the
Well,
hate mail. I'll always have
no,
people in my DMs like, "Why did you block me? I don't like you anymore." So no,
yeah,
I'm not gonna do that. Chris is. Do you want to tell them about the deal you made the other night? You want to circle back around to that whole thing?
well, I had said that I would eat a worm if we got to 80K likes, and they sure got there really quick. I wasn't really expecting that. Um, but now that we're doing this week long live, me and Sarah are gonna eat the one chip challenge on Wednesday.
You and who?
Me and you, or you and me, however you want to look at it.
No, Chris, we're not. We're not going to do the one chip challenge. You might do it. But no, I'm not going to do it. Oh, is
Yeah,
Raven
no.
here? I didn't see Raven come in. Hello, Raven, if you're out there.
Yeah, but
All right, guys, the guest box is open. We might have an early night tonight. See, so like here's the thing. We're doing the marathon week, but I don't know which nights are busy and which nights are not, because TikTok, sometimes it's busy on here, sometimes it's not. So we might have some early nights. We might have a night or two where we start early. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so definitely want to get some people up here. Let's do some tapping. What is it Tully says? If
if you're
you're
not
if
tapping, you're napping.
Yeah, that's it. You could also say if you're not napping, start tapping. I mean, that would work too. Because I know a lot of people fall asleep listening to these scary stories, which makes me think, I should stop making donkey noises at some point, because I can just imagine you're sleeping peacefully, listening to the ghost stories, and then I'm over here snorting and, sorry if I wake you guys up if you're napping.
We haven't plugged the subscription tonight.
Yeah, kick it, Chris. You can do it.
Oh man, I don't know why you throw it to me. I can't even speak to begin with.
I can't either.
But we have a subscription, and you get to use cool emojis like the lizard. That was Tully that just used the lizard in the comments there. But you also get access to the Discord, and we have a lot of fun over there on the Discord. We post memes, we post all kinds of paranormal videos and pictures and all kinds of stuff over there. We have Discord calls where we all get together and talk about all kinds of stuff, and it's really fun. So we have the subscription set on the lowest possible amount we could put it. Um, but yeah, if anybody's interested, it's on the bottom left corner. If anybody wants to check that out.
Oh, wow, Hawkins, thank you for all those shares. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
Good job plugging the Discord. Very good. I knew you could do it.
Yeah, I haven't seen Two Smokes in here. Was he in here the last couple of days?
You know, I don't think I have seen him around for a while. Hopefully, he's doing all right. He's usually here, but um, someone says I'm an extraterrestrial. Well, come up here and tell us about it. Let's see if I can invite you.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could have like a PNG profile picture like that.
Thank you, Peggy. Yeah.
I thought that was a black sock for a second. The profile picture that Hawkins has.
Oh, let me look. I didn't even see it. Actually, I can't see their profile picture at all because
Oh,
of the way
really?
my screen. Yeah, my screen's laid out funny because my phone is square. It's not phone shaped, so
Yeah.
I can't see things the way that they're supposed to be on the screen. Um.
Well, somebody's spamming gifts at you.
Oh, Peggy, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Sarah, do a money spread. We got to see you do a money spread right here live on TikTok.
Am I allowed to do something like that on TikTok? Or are we talking about something entirely different than what I'm imagining?
Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking about. I'm talking about a money spread. I'm just kind of joking, but it's just yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I think it's not what I thought it was.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Hawkins is sending you some gummy bears.
Oh, was that for me? Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Oh no, wait, they're tiny Donnies.
Yeah, they're the little dinosaur. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell. I can't see anything right now.
Oh man, I'm still laughing about the money spread. We really need to get somebody up here. Let me plug the box really quick. Oh man, sir, you need to do your box plugging.
You do it.
Well, if anybody has a story you want to share with us, we're here waiting. We're waiting on you guys.
If you're new here, we do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained in general, just weird stuff that you never did figure out, but it keeps you awake at night. Thank you for the heart, Harry. And also glitch in the matrix stories. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story, whatever it is that keeps you awake and that you can't stop thinking about, even if it happened in 1972. We want to hear it. How do you get live access? Drew, Drew, you got to have at least 200 followers to go live as a guest, and in order to host your own, you have to have 1,000 because you have to be able to cam up. So, got to have 200 followers to be guest, 1,000 to run a stream. TikTok's
Yes.
rules, not mine, obviously. Thank you guys for all the roses and stuff. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we're getting spoiled tonight.
I know,
Wow.
hand hearts. Peggy, thank you so much. I've got to have some AI phrases. I
Yeah,
got to think of some.
wow, guys. I mean, I don't want to speak for Sarah, but stop. Don't don't waste your money on me. But I appreciate it. Somebody sent me well, Hawkins sent me a cap. I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, Cat Mama. So cute. Thank you. This is Super Mario. Hello. Well, hello, Super Mario. Do you have a spooky story? If so, hop in the box. Come up and tell us about it. Guest box is open, guys. If anybody wants to come up
Yes.
and share a story, paranormal or otherwise, especially if you have a Loch Ness monster story. We don't get enough of those. We have gotten one. It wasn't technically the monster of Loch Ness.
Right.
It
Sea
was
moss.
a crustaceous Claude or something like that, but it was very cool. Or Claude the crustacean. I don't know. What is that? What is the word that? Let me Google it. because I'm not sure what I'm even talking about at this.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there
Was
that
it
night.
the crustacean era? Crustacean, like lobsters?
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh my god.
Yeah, guys,
The crustacean.
you can't let us talk for this long. We will go off the rails. The Krusty Krab. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was trying to say I can't say it. I can't pronounce this word. Cretaceous era, and I was saying crustacean.
Oh my
Holy
god.
cow. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. But apparently, I think, is that when T Rex lived? Looks like it, based on the Google pictures. Yeah, Cretaceous. That's a hard word to say when you have a hillbilly accent. I like crustacean era a little more. I think it has a better ring to it. It
Yeah.
kind of makes you think of like soup and salad and red lobster, sort of. Guys, this is what happens when you don't tell us ghost stories. Hawkins, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Guest box is open. Get up here and tell us something wild and spooky. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. Or else we're going to start talking about the Paleolithic era. And that's probably also not the right word. Any Waverly Hills stories? I have a cousin who has gone. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. He's gone to Waverly Hills quite a few times, and he always captures something spooky or weird. He swears it's haunted. I actually never went. I kind of regret not going because I did have the opportunity a few times, but I always just felt like it was overhyped. But I've since heard a lot of people talk about, that it's definitely paranormal. Like there's definitely a lot of activity there. So I wish I had gone, but I never did. And then now I don't know what's going on with that place because I heard they were supposed to turn it into a hotel, but then they didn't. But maybe they still will. Not sure. So we'll see, I guess. Maybe someday I will go to Waverly Hills and I'll have some stories about it for you guys. If you have a story about Waverly Hills, though, feel free to jump in the box, come up and tell it.
Sarah, give me 1 sec. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Isn't Waverly Hills from a show? Yeah, it was probably on a bunch of shows, I'm guessing. I didn't watch a lot of paranormal reality shows, but I would say that they probably all visited Waverly Hills because it's one of the most infamously haunted locations in the country, I think. Allegedly. Like I said, I haven't been there, so I wouldn't know personally. Um, let's see. Well, now that Chris is gone, let's boot him out of the stream and find a new co-host. See how he likes that. He always tries to turn the show into the Howard Stern show every time I leave for a minute. So now we're gonna do it to him. Um, somebody come up
Hey,
here.
I heard that. What did you say? What did you say?
I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow, Sarah. It looks like we're gonna have to take over the show here. Nobody wants to tell us any spooky stories tonight.
Dinosaurs were mutant pets of the Nephilim. Oh, Lord.
Sounds about right.
Uh-oh, we got somebody. We got a person.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, okay. So this happened 5.5 years ago when I was 15. On this day, I was hanging out with my friend Simon. Simon had money to buy weed, so he bought some weed. After Simon bought the weed,
Yeah, okay, TikTok. That was not my fault. Do not blame me. That was an intentional, on purpose troll. Somebody, I don't know, mods, if you see that guy, block him. That was on purpose. Um,
Yeah, I guess we're kind of due for a troll there.
yep, due for a troll for sure. For sure. Blocked. Yeah, you're not allowed to say that on TikTok, and the fact that he kept saying it over and over and over, obvious, very obvious.
That was hilarious, by the way.
It wasn't even funny. You know what's
We're
funny to me is like a lot of people come up, well, not a lot. We don't actually get that many trolls, I guess, but a lot of people who do come up to troll, they're not even funny. It's like at least make it interesting. You know what I mean? Like make it good. If you're gonna waste our time, at least make me laugh. Holy cow!
at least do
Very poor
something for me.
attempt. Yeah, do something for me. I want to laugh. At least make it funny. But I guess not. Trolls are unoriginal. Um. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. If we don't get somebody in here, we're gonna call it for the night. Somebody better come up and tell us a spooky story.
We're gonna eat ourselves.
We're gonna yeet ourselves. Exactly. Well, that worked. All right.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello, welcome.
thank you. So I have a little tiny story from the other night. It totally was probably my adrenaline. But so I've heard about owls out where I live, and I've lived here about 5 months now. It's like basically up in the mountains. But we got a neighbor across the road. Okay. Never heard a single owl. And then the other night I needed to go out and grab something for my car. And I was like, you know what? I got this. The woods look scary, but I got this because my car sits right in front of the opening into the woods. Okay, and there's a cougar spotted, bear spotted, like all the animals, right? So I'm like, I got this. So I go out to the garage, and the garage door is open, and I'm like, why is the garage door open? It is never open. And I'm staring at it. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. So I walk out, like literally, I take a step outside of the garage door, and my car is like maybe 20 feet away, 20, 30 feet away, right? And I start hearing this owl hooting. And I'm like standing there, I'm like, why is this owl just going off? I'm like, did it find something? Is it happy? What's going on? And then, like, maybe 60 feet across is the neighbor, because it's like right across from the driveway. And I hear these like bells jingling. And I'm standing there for a solid 5 seconds listening to these bells jingle and this owl just hoot itself away. And like I said, I've never heard an owl out here. So between the bells jingling when there was no wind and this owl, I just like literally stood there and I was like, no, not worth it. And I literally went straight back inside. So it's like a lot of adrenaline, but kind of creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Like, 'cause there was no wind. I don't know why the bells were jingling. I'm like, it could have been a raccoon. Maybe the raccoon found the bells and was ringing it, and the owl was like, no, come on now. I don't know. I just know the bells were ringing, the owl was hooting, and I was like, no. And I walked right back inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you a bit.
But yeah, that's just a little story.
Well, thank you for coming up
Awesome.
and sharing with us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course,
Very cool. Very cool. All right, guys. We're going to give it to about 12:45, and if it remains slow tonight, we might call it. So if you guys have any stories you want to share, feel free to hop in the box, come up, tell us a paranormal story, extraterrestrial story, cryptid story, unexplained in general, or a glitch in the matrix story. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. The one that keeps you awake at night. The one you can't stop thinking about when you're alone in the dark driving down a highway. That's what we want to hear. A cat with a bell. Man, I hope somebody didn't turn a cat with a bell loose into the wild, because if you leave the collar on your cat and it goes outside, it could get caught on things. You guys don't ever want to do that. That's a bad idea.
Hmm.
Can make chairs dance and tables walk. Well, prove it. John Deal, come up here and prove it. Show us how it's done. Oh wait, you probably can't do that. But yeah. Get up to 200 followers, you can come up here and show us how to make chairs move. I'd love to see that. There used to be a interesting thing, I don't know if you guys know about it. The Randy Foundation. They used to offer a cash reward if anybody could demonstrate supernatural powers.
Right.
Did you ever hear about that, Chris?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've seen the videos. They're hilarious, by the way.
Really? Are there videos?
Yeah.
I guess I'm out of the loop. Oh, there's Drac. Drac coming to hang out with us.
Oh,
Hello,
welcome.
welcome.
Hello, hello. How are y'all?
We are hanging in there. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I have a story if y'all want to hear it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is recent. This is like in the past month. I went on a vacation with my cousins, and we were staying at an Airbnb. This was in Texas. And there was a person that we were with that had come along on the trip that this is so awful. We had all decided was extremely annoying, and we had to find a way to get him to stop talking to us the whole time and just go do his own thing. And I know that sounds so petty, but y'all had to be there. Anyway, the point is, so we decided that we were going to scare him. And of course I was enlisted to do that because that's what I do for a living, is scare people. So I dropped this Ouija board on a piece of paper, and I get a bottle cap, and I start mocking the board and everything, and acting like there's something there and everything. And my cousin joins in and starts doing it too. And at one point, we were both like, okay, I'm not moving it. And we talked about it afterwards. Neither of us were moving it, but apparently we came in contact with the spirit of I can't remember what the name was. Anyway, it was a person that had passed away, and we asked, how did you pass away? And it typed out, or not typed, but spelled out bee, like a bee. And I was like, okay, what, like a bee sting? Like you're allergic to bees or something? And it went to yes. And so I just asked, I don't know what possessed me to ask this question, but I was like, well, what was the bee's name? And it spelled out Ruke, like Ruke. And we're all just kind of laughing and whatever, and then we close it out and everything, and we're done with it. Well, the next day, we go and get tattoos, and one of my cousin, the one that was in on the joke with me, got a bee tattooed called Rook the Bee. And on the way back, I was just out of curiosity, just looking up fatal bee stings, fatal bee attack, whatever in the town. Turns out there was one. And it was on that street. And I don't know if I actually contacted Rook the Bee. I don't know what was going on. But I don't know.
Wow, I'm Googling that. Is that a thing? Like Rook? Like Ruke?
I don't know. That's what I was trying to find. I was trying to find if there was something about bees, like RUKE. I even looked up like spirits that are related to bees named Rook or something.
Yeah. Let me get my demonology book real quick and I'll see if I can find anything in there. That sounds pretty interesting, actually.
Oh, what else did it say? It said something else too. It said Rook the Bee, and then I wish I could remember. I can't remember. I'll have to call them and ask, and I'll fill y'all in on the Discord. But
Yeah, for sure. That is interesting, though. It would be crazy if I could like maybe find it somewhere. There's so many demons in here. It would take me hours to find to find the right demon. They should have laid it out like a phone book, you know.
I
It's
know.
like I want a quick reference guide, basically. Where is that demonology book? And Google, it's hit and miss. But Cat Mama says like in chess, like a rook in chess. Huh, interesting. Oh my god, the comment section, guys. It's been a wild night, Drac. I don't know if you just got here, but it's weird tonight.
Have the stories been ooky spooky or more comical or what?
We've had a few good ones. We've had some really good ones, but I don't know. We got like a bunch of trolls in here, and like this one dude came up and tried to say a word a whole bunch of times. Little did he know he's the one that's going to get the strike for that, not me. But I had kind of a feeling, so I yeeted him, and then like he may or may not be in the comments still, but we'll figure it out. We always do.
Ooh.
Yeah, we had a pretty cool story earlier. That Bible story. We get kind of religious stories every now and then, but and usually they'll say something along the lines of, they used, I guess, they used their religion somehow to battle this evil, whether it was through prayer or whatever. Well, this guy actually used his Bible as a as a physical weapon and used it to hit the demon or whatever it was. So I thought that was really interesting and kind of cool.
The sword of the spirit, period.
Yeah, he used the word of God all right.
Did y'all ever have to learn about that, like the armor of God?
No,
Like,
No.
not personally.
Oh, okay. They call the Bible the sword of the spirit, and I just find it. If you ever watch Bob Larson, he's an exorcist, or at least he claims to be. I think he's a fraud, personally. But he always like, whenever he's doing an exorcism, he goes behind the person being exorcised and he takes the Bible and he like hits them really hard on the back with it. And so they obviously like have a reaction to that, like they jump, and he always goes, "That's the demon! That's the demon! It's freaking out because the Bible."
It's like, no, dude, it hurts. It's a thick book.
You're
It's like
hitting me with a
1,000 pages.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh god, let me plug the box because we're losing the plot a little bit. All right. Guys, if anybody has a story, please come up and tell us about it. Don't be nervous. Don't be shy. We're just a bunch of nerds here. Not
Yeah.
me. Not me, but
Definitely you, but it's cool though. It's fun. Nothing wrong with it. Um, let's see. Yeah, we're gonna give it about 10 more minutes. It may just be a slow night. What even is this? Is this Tuesday? I don't even know at this point. Yeah, it's
Yes.
Tuesday.
It is Tuesday,
I
yes.
keep thinking it's Monday because we're usually here on Sunday and Monday nights. But yeah, we'll give it a little bit longer, and if we don't
Yeah.
really pick up in speed, we might call it for the night. Oh, saved by Lodge Tales. Lodge
Yes.
Tales will get us back on track.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about a few things. I mean, I'll tell a story, but I wanna. Why is it that on the reservations around the United States, there seems to be more hauntings? There seems to be more paranormal activity. Is it that we, like, how we're raised and how we view the world, because we view the world through a spiritual lens, right? Like for every living and natural thing, it also has a coinciding spirit with it. Is it because we believe like that? Is it because we're more open? I don't know what to think about that. Is it how we're raised that we have no doubt and we know that those spirits are there? Or is somebody that wasn't raised like us, they don't have that. And not all natives are raised like that either. Just because you're native doesn't mean you inherently have this belief or these teachings or this knowledge or anything. It to me it's just a odd situation, because say I go to a non-native town and I went door to door and it was all cool and nobody thought I was a weirdo, and I just said, "Hey, do you guys got a spooky story?" I'm willing to bet a lot of them don't. Now, if I went door to door on my res, somebody in each house would have a story. Even if they never experienced something themselves, they would have heard a story. So I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that out there because I've been thinking about that, and I've been hearing people say that too. Why is it that reservations are more haunted? And I've been thinking about it, like, shit, I don't know. But yeah, it's a interesting thought, to say the least. So this story I want to tell comes from my friend back home on the Blackfeet Res, and so it goes like this. This is a crazy one, and it's a really long story, so I'm gonna kind of shorten it down. So he used to work for the mortician back on the res, and he was the driver, and he would help the mortician that worked there do certain things like clean the people that passed, sponge them down, things like that, take care of them. Well, he is driving. He has to go pick up a person from another town away, 120 some miles away, and drive that person back to get them ready from the hospital. That's where he had to pick them up at. So as he picks them up, he straps them down and everything, and as he's driving back, the I don't know if we can say that word, but the box that they're in keeps coming loose and hitting him from behind, like bouncing into him, and he didn't really know what to do. He'd just stop, tie it back in, secure it, knew it was secured, check it again, and it would happen again. It happened to him a few times going up. So, long story short, he got delayed down there, and he was doing this at night because he wanted to do it during the day. And as he's going back into town, he finally gets back to the res, and as he's driving, there's all these cop lights and everything, and he thinks there was an accident there. And he just drove around it, and he kept driving, and then he sees his friend walking, and his friend kind of has like this duffel bag and everything, and his friend's walking. And as he gets further to town, I mean, as he sees his friend, he says, "Hey, jump in, I'll give you a ride in." And as he gets further into town, his friend's like, "Well, what's going on?" So, "Oh, this, that, and the other." He says, his friend starts telling me, "Yeah, I got in a fight with my wife and kind of having it out right now." He says, "You mind if I stay out at your place?" He said, "Yeah," because he had a bunch of trailers out there he would use for a school for the kids, and then one was like his man cave trailer and whatnot. And he would stay there. His friend's name we'll just say it was Jason. That's not his real name, but that's how he says it's Jason. And so he stays with them for a while. The next thing you know, things start happening. Just weird things start happening. Like one night, um, his daughter gets led into the back room by this thing, was trying to basically lure his daughter away. And they go in and they end up stopping it, whereas he runs out and he talks to Jason, who's staying in the other trailer. Hey, did you see anything going on? Did you see anything? And Jason says, yeah, I did. And so I thought I seen somebody in your room, person in your room. And, things like that kept going on, kept going on. And one night, Jason actually went into the trailer and they're all looking around for weird things like that again, daughter being drug away. And he comes out the back room with his daughter. He's like, hey, how did you get in here, man? Like, what are you doing? You got to be straight with me, man. Like, what's going on with you? And he says, no, I just seen the person in your room. So I took your daughter out and, saved her. Their dogs were barking and everything. But the daughter really liked Jason. She was just like hugging him. She wouldn't let him go and everything. Well, days go by and he says, look, man, you probably should go back and talk to your wife. He'd go out and talk to him in that trailer where he stayed in that room. He'd knock on it and he'd come and open the door. He'd say, come in, yeah. And he'd say, you should probably go and stay at your house. Go figure it out. And says, no, let me just stay for a couple more days. I don't feel like it. Well, the hauntings keep getting bad out there. They keep getting worse and worse and worse. And things keep happening constantly. Until one night, they end up going to town and staying in the hotel. And he tells his buddy Jason, he's like, hey, do you want to come in and stay with us? He says, no, I'll be all right. I'll be all right here. He says, I'll be okay. He says, all right. And he says, well, I need to go back into town. We're going to stay here. The mortician still needs me to work. This whole time he's trying to stay at work. And his brother comes into work, visit him at the mortician's house one night, and they're playing cards, and he gets spooked. He leaves. I mean, I'm talking things keep happening to this guy all this time over this past week in his life. All these strange things keep happening. Spirits around him getting spooked, and doors opening, whatnot. Just all these things. So they're at their hotel, and they finally go back out to stay at the house to see if things have calmed down. And the mortician keeps saying, you need to get in here. I need your help. I need your help. He says, wait, man, I'm trying to figure this out. I got a lot of stuff going on the side here, but I'll be in there to help you. I'll be in there to help you. And so finally he goes in and he says, that funeral, it got bumped up. We have to do it right now. So I need you to go get that person, and they need you to be there. We got to get this done. And so he gets that body and everything, and they go and they get everything prepared. They're at the funeral, and he keeps noticing this person staring at him. From the moment they were having the wake, this person showed up and was asking for him. Hey, where's, his friend Jason? Let me back up. His friend Jason, this person kept asking for him, and they didn't realize, but turns out it was a spirit asking for his friend. Even at that burial where they put him in the ground, he kept asking for his friend. You guys seen Jason? You guys seen Jason? And so he goes back to see his friend. He's like, look, man, you gotta go in. And his dad's even saying, hey, have you seen my boy? He's gone. He hasn't shown up. He keeps trying to talk him into going to town. Finally, he rides to town with him. And he gets out at that mortician's house because he had to go in and help some more and cram in some more work. But he leaves. I'll give you a ride home. He says, no, I'm good. And he leaves, gives him a big hug, and he says, thanks for everything, and he leaves. Well, they still had to get that person picked up. He was there at the mortician's place already. They had brought him in, and my friend wasn't there to help with any of that. They had brought him in. He's like, yeah, we need to work on him right away. So they pull him out and they're getting ready to work on him. Lo and behold, it's Jason that's on that. He was the person that passed that night. He was hit by a car and his body was thrown quite a ways. That night he came back from the town of Great Falls with that other transport he was doing. His friend had passed that night. Jason had passed that night. and he had picked him up, not knowing it was just his spirit. But that incident, when he seen him and he like laid eyes on him after he had brought him to town, and he walked away from that mortician center, and he seen him, he says he had a nervous breakdown. He kind of like passed out. He said, I just remember waking up in a hospital, not realizing what happened, like, and then finally it all come back, and his daughter was hugging him. Jason saved them from that spirit that was trying to take his boy or his girl. He was there for him one last time before he left this place. But that story is actually on my podcast, and it's a 2-hour long story. If you guys are interested, check out the Lodge Tales podcast. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel so bad for my friend that told me this story, but he reassures me. He says, Rod, that's been years ago. It's been years ago, and I'm better today. He said, but that was my story. And so, I mean, I have more. Since the slow night, I could tell some more here. Here's this place called Red Blanket Ridge. And at Red Blanket Ridge, why it's called as, it's named after this old Blackfeet. Him and his wife together, they were medicine people, and they had certain gifts that they could use to heal people. And his wife in particular had a really strong gift to help women so they wouldn't get pregnant. And they had all sorts of medicines like that. Well, anyways, he was laid to rest in an above ground way. He wasn't put in a scaffold or anything. It was just right above ground. His remains were just laid right there on the ground as an open style burial, I guess you'd say. And people that drive down the road off of the hill coming to this place, they used to see that old guy out there, and he'd jump out in the middle of the road, still dressed in the old way, and people would almost go off the road. We, as Blackfeet that know about this, we kind of talk about it, and we realize that for some reason he had that in him to want to scare people, but that stopped. Old man Red Blanket's not like that anymore. He's quiet. Like, it's not really like that anymore. But to this day, if you try to go up to that ridge and sleep on that ridge overnight, say just camp, there's no way he's going to let you. He'll run you off there. And the stories that come from that are he'll roll you off in your sleeping bag. If you see him, he even makes this, like, I don't know how to say it. He makes fire come from himself to chase you. Like, there'll be fire, like a fireball shot at you, scare you. He'll run you off somehow. He'll run you out of that place. This is Red Blanket, but there's a house right below this place, and in that house, when you drive by at night, you can see lights on in this old house. And I'm talking one of those old, like, log houses that people have built with their own hands, carved the logs out and everything. There's no electricity to this place. My wife and I have seen that light, and you talk to a lot of other people that have driven by there, and they see that light. So this is one of the hot spots on our res that has a lot of activity, and it used to come from that old man, but not so much anymore. Just across the river, in this other place called Sweet Pine, they're within eyeshot of each other. My friend was running down that for track. He was running, and he ran all the way down. It's about 3 miles back to that campground, another 3 miles back. And as he was running back, he looked in that tree line, and there was this old Blackfeet standing there. I mean, dressed in the old way too, like white buckskin, quill work. It wasn't beadwork, it was quill work. It was that old, because we didn't have beads back before the colonizers came. It was quills, porcupine quills, and they were dyed, and those were the beads. That's what he had on, was quill work. It was real old. And he was standing, he come running, he seen him standing in that tree line, but it was close to that road. And he ran up to him, and he says, I see you running here a lot. He says, He says, I like to see you running. It makes me feel good to see you young guys, doing these kinds of things out here. And he's just looking at him like he couldn't really believe what he's seeing. And he says, yeah, I'm practicing for track. He says, but I'm going to keep running. And that old man looks at him and says, you'll be back. He says, yeah, you'll be back around here. I'll see you again. And he just runs off. But all of this activity happens around that area, up to and including Imoyitapi, the Sasquatch, Bigfoot. That's in that area too. This area is a really active place. They've since start building, I want to say it's vacation rentals or like a hotel, like a bed and breakfast type thing around in there. Since they start doing that, those Imoyitipis, they start yelling, they start screaming a lot there. And there's this lady that used to live out there is telling me about it, like even, different spirits have been screaming, things like that out there. But yeah, this is just one place, and it's nestled right up to the Rocky Mountains. It's like right there by the mountains. So yeah, just some interesting thoughts I've been having tonight I wanted to share with everybody. But I think that's all I'll share for tonight, and I'll just listen on.
All right, Lodge. Well, we appreciate you so much. And everybody be sure to follow Lodge Tales Podcast. Tap on his little picture there on the screen and hit the follow button, the little cross thing. Give him a follow. Check out his videos. Very cool. We appreciate you so much. I think Drac said he would be back under an alternate name. Drac, are you here? Because I think you're in the box. But maybe you're not in the box, and I don't want to
I think he might be Molly Pop.
He's Molly Pop? Oh no.
I'm just kidding.
That would confuse me. Okay. Anyway, Werewolf is up next. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, is this Boo Crew on a Tuesday?
Yeah, we're doing a marathon week.
All right. Whatchamacallit? Is Lodgetel still here? I really wanted his opinion on this one. I've been waiting. I don't know.
Lodge Tales, are you here? Would you care to jump back up with us?
I mean, he doesn't have to be up here, but if he's listening, I would love to talk to him afterwards. I don't know. Okay, cool.
Here
Okay.
he is.
So, hey, Lodgetel, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So this is one of the first paranormal stories I can remember. And as you guys know, because I've been in here before, I've seen ghosts or spirits, whatever. And I don't know if I saw my first ghost or this story happened. And I don't know what this was, but this is a little different. So when I was 7 years old, I went on a road trip with my brother, my mom, and my mom's boyfriend. And we went from Southern California to the Grand Canyon. And somewhere along the way, and I don't remember if it was before or after the Grand Canyon, but we made a pit stop. We made a little side trip to my mom's boyfriend's hometown because he was Native American. I don't know or remember which tribe, but we went to visit his family on a reservation. And so when we got there, they were we're just kind of hanging out, and these two girls. By the way, I'm 7 years old. My brother's 9 years old. And these two girls ride by on their bicycles, and they're these kids, and they were just very curious because they knew all the other kids on the res, and they're who are they? Who are you guys? Blah, blah, blah. We don't know you, blah, blah, blah. So they basically asked us if we wanted to play and hang out with them. And then they led us off into we basically went on a hike, and we went down to this, whatever. And along the way, I was sort of singing at that time. I really like to sing a lot, and I was whistling a lot. And they told me, "Oh, you whistle a lot." And then I was like, "Yeah." And sometimes I get in trouble in class because I'll be singing or whistling during class. And then they said, "Just make sure you don't whistle after dark." And then I was like, "Why not?" And they're like, "Oh, because it attracts them." And I was like, "Attracts who?" And we're not supposed to talk about it. It's that's not good. It attracts them. I was like, "Attracts who?" And we're not supposed to say the name. And I'm like, "Well, then don't bring it up. What are you talking about?" So anyways, we are walking along when they take us to this little river babbling brook thing. And then we come back. And I was just very excited because I was 7 years old and it was just the kids. And my mom didn't want to let us go off by ourselves, but her the boyfriend's family, it was his dad and brother. They were like, "Oh no, it's pretty safe. Like, the kids all wander free. Don't worry. It's like you're not in the city anymore. It's fine." So, anyways, I was just excited to be having our little adventure. And so at a certain point, we weren't gone that long, maybe like 20 minutes, and then we turned back around, and they said, "Okay, well now it's starting to like get dark, so don't whistle anymore." And I was like, "It's not dark. It's totally like the sun is definitely up in the sky. It's like afternoon." Well, they're like, "Well, anyways, don't whistle anymore." So, anyways, at a certain point, as we're walking back, I ran up ahead on the trail, and I was hiding behind like a tree, and I was waiting for them to walk by. And as they walked by, I did this whistle that I've can do ever since I was a little kid, just like that. And the two girls started running like as fast as they could up the trail. And I started like running after them. And I was just giggling. I thought it was fun. And I was like, it was me, you guys, it was me. But then they kept running. They just kept running as fast as they could. And I was the youngest, and I'm like chasing after them. So finally we get up to like the house. And I was like, "Why are you guys so scared?" And they're like, "We're not scared of you. We knew that was you whistling. We're not scared of you. We were scared of like that, of what you would attract, because you're not supposed to whistle this late." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever, silly. I don't really understand this superstition." So anyways, they get on their bikes, and then they leave, and then we're there in the house. And then my mom and her boyfriend were going to go drive away for a little bit and have like a date night. And then we were just going to hang out with his family. So they did that. And then as we're hanging out, it's like nighttime. And I remember it being like really boring. Like they didn't have like, they weren't watching TV or like listening to music. They were just kind of like hanging out and talking. But also being like from the city, I remember the noises outside. Like there's so many like insects, or just like the sound of like nature, and like lots of like, all the animals, which I don't really hear as much of that, like being from the city. So I was like, "Can we go outside and like listen to the animals?" They're like, "Yeah, of course." So then we go outside, and we're listening to like, all the chirps and blah, blah, blah. And like, it's really loud. And so then once again, I decide, oh, I'm going to do my little trick. I'm going to do my little like bird call, because I can hear like birds or like bugs, whatever, in like all the trees. So I do my little, and then the two men come out, and they're like, "What is that?" They're like, "I've never heard that before. It sounds like a bird." So they're looking up in the tree to like find the source of the noise. And once again, like mischievous 7-year-old me is like, "Oh my God, I'm like totally tricking these adults. This is so funny. Ha ha ha." So I do the little whistle again, and they are getting closer because they're trying to figure out where it's coming from. And I know better than to do it when they're right there. So I was, no, they're going to know it's me. So I don't do it when they're like nearby. And then instead I kind of sneak off, and then I'll do it again over here. And like, "Oh, there it is. It sounds like it's coming from over here, blah, blah." So they're really trying to figure this out. And maybe after like 5 minutes, I finally decide to come clean. So I walk up behind them. They're looking up into the trees. And I walk up right behind them, and I go, and they turn around. They go, "Oh, that's you. No, you can't whistle. You can't whistle." And I was like, "Why?" I was like, "That's what those girls said too." And they're like, "You can't whistle at nighttime. Get in the house. Get in the house." And it was very dramatic. And I wasn't scared. I thought they were just like, trying to play a trick on me or something. But they snatched me and my brother up, and they like rushed us inside the house, and they closed the door, and then we're sitting there. And not long after that, there's a knock at the door, and it's my mom, and she's saying to open the door. And I go, "Oh, it's my mom." And then they look at each other, and they go, "Did you hear anything?" And they go, "No." "Did you hear anything?" They ask my brother, "Did you hear anything?" He says, "No." And I go, "You didn't hear that?" I was like, "It's Mom." And she's saying my name, and she's saying to open the door. The dad runs to the door and is like holding it shut, like almost like barricading it. And then the knock comes, there comes more knocking. And then I hear Joe. Joe is my mom's boyfriend. And I'm like, "It's Joe." And he's saying, when he was like, "Hey, open," he's like, open the door. We're here. Open the door." And so I'm telling them that. I'm like, "Open the door, blah, blah, blah. It's your son. It's your brother, blah, blah." And they're like, "I don't hear that. No, blah, blah." And they seem like very scared. I'm getting kind of freaked out because once again, I'm 7 years old. It's nighttime. I've just met these two men for the first time this evening. So I'm starting to like kind of panic. And I'm like, "Open the door. Why aren't you letting them in? Blah, blah, blah. Open the door." They're not still knocking, and I can hear my mom or her boyfriend, saying, "Hey, open the door. Let me in. Let me in." And so then I say, "I'm in here. Come in." When I say that, the two men freak out, and the dad says, "No, he doesn't live here. He can't invite you in. He doesn't know what he's saying. You cannot come in. You cannot come in." The brother grabs me and puts his hand over my mouth, And now I'm really freaking out because I'm 7 years old. Once again, I don't know these people. And this man is physically restraining me with his hand over my mouth. So now I'm kicking and screaming and squirming and crying and freaking out. And they're yelling, and I can still hear the knocking at the door. I can hear my mom and her boyfriend at the door. Eventually, I was trying to bite the guy's hand because he had his hand over my mouth, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. You know, once again, I'm just freaking out because I'm 7 years old. And I bit his finger. He cursed. He let go of me, and I'm like, let go, blah blah blah. I hear the knocking at the door, and now I hear my brother saying, "Help! Help! Let me in!" I go, oh, "It's my brother! It's my brother! Let him in! He's outside!" Blah, blah. And then they said, "That's your brother? You hear your brother?" And I say, "Yes." And they said, "How can that be your brother when your brother's right there?" And then I look at the couch, and of course my brother's there because he's been inside the whole time. And so now I'm still not scared, but now I'm like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? The brother gets, not my brother, but the man, my Joe's brother, gets a Band-Aid because I broke skin when I bit his finger. The dad took some water and did some sort of, I don't know, protection or blessing thing on the door. He put like water on like our heads or something like that, I think. And then it was kind of quiet. Nothing happened again for another like 30, 40 minutes. And then there was a knock at the door, and it was my mom and her boyfriend. But they knocked at the door, and then the dad was asking him like certain questions to make sure that it was him. Like, oh, what's the name of blah, 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 or asking him when's blah, blah, blah's birthday. I know, like verification questions. They opened the door and they tell them what happened. And we were supposed to spend the night there. They showed us like they turned like the living room into like bed space so that we could like sleep there. But then they said, after they told the story what happened, and they said that we couldn't stay there, that it wasn't safe, and that they had to get, basically like we had to leave the res tonight. It wasn't safe for us to stay there. So we got into the car, and so we started to drive to leave that night. And I don't know how long we were driving, but at a certain point, I remember, and I was in the back seat. I was in the seat behind the driver's seat. The car stopped, and they're talking to me like, "Who is that? What is that?" Blah blah blah. And Joe, who was driving, said, "That's a spirit." And I remember my brother saying, "What is that?" And I couldn't see from my seat because I'm 7 years old, so I like kind of had to like scooch over to the middle seat to see. And I saw a woman. She just looked like a woman. She was kind of wearing a nondescript, like a cloak dress thing, but she didn't look like very scary, but it was just like a woman in the middle of the road. And I said, "It's just a woman." And then I remember my brother saying, "No, look, that's not a woman." And then I looked again, and she had changed form a little bit. It was like, it's kind of like, you know, in the Harry Potter movies when they apparate, and it's sort of like you can see them, but then it's like smoke, but it's like blurred, but it's like you can still see like what it is, but it's almost like as if someone took a painting and sort of like smeared the image a little bit. Like you can still tell what it is, but it's like a smoky, wispy form of that. And it was sort of like the woman had wispy, smoky transformed into like a deer. But like I could still see the dress and the woman form, but then I could still definitely see like antlers. And it was almost like mid transformation or something like that. And I remember just being so curious. Everyone else was scared, but I wasn't scared. I was just like, so like, what is that? And I remember Joe having a conversation with the spirit woman thing, but I couldn't hear her. None of the rest of us could hear her, but she was like talking to him directly. And I remember he kept saying he doesn't know. He's talking about me, I think. I'm pretty sure. He said he doesn't know. He's not from here. He's white. And I remember being like, "I'm not white. I'm Mexican and I'm Guamanian." Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "He's white. He doesn't know. He doesn't know." Blah, blah, blah. And he was sort of like pleading with this woman deer spirit thing that I didn't know shouldn't be held accountable type thing. And I remember I wasn't scared. And in fact, I wanted to go to the window to see her. And my mom was saying, "No, don't." But then Joe said she wants to see him, and like if she wanted to, like she could come into the car if she wanted, like just listen, basically. And I remember I went to the window and I rolled down the window. No one asked me to do that. I rolled down the window and I reached my hand out, and I don't remember touching her, but I just remember kind of looking at her. And once again, and I've told you stories before where I've seen like people that other people couldn't see, and I couldn't tell they were dead. They just looked like solid, regular, normal people. But this wasn't like that. I could sort of see through her. It was like she was there, but not there, like sort of, like I said, like wispy or like smoke. Um, and then I don't really remember because like I didn't have a conversation with her or anything like that. But I guess what Joe said is that she basically allowed us passage. She allowed us to leave. And so we did, we drove. And then I just remember passing out in the car. And then when I woke up, it was like, I don't know how much time later, but we had left the reservation and we had gone to some motel. And then Joe was waking us up to like check into the hotel. So that's like one of my first encounters with the paranormal. My question is, any idea what that was? And do you think that the same thing knocking on the door at the house was the spirit woman that I saw in the road?
Yeah, I definitely think you called that spirit there, and it was the same one. But at first I was, because what you were talking about, it sounds like SW. I just don't want to say
I
that
know
word.
what that is. Yeah.
But that's what I thought it was at the beginning. But toward the end, I'm thinking it was a spirit instead. But
Yeah, because I've never heard of SWs like talking to people or like having, you know what I mean? Like, have you? Or like, I don't know how that all works.
no, they don't really. They do talk to people, but they're like in their regular form. They're human. They're human. They didn't use their medicine to change yet, and they'll try to sometimes trick. Now these are Dene, right? This isn't my tribe. I'm Blackfeet, so if I get some of this wrong, I apologize to all you Dene. But I've heard a story that one of them told me where they were trying to trick this medicine person to do this ceremony for them. Well, was just asking them, and he refused to. He says, "No, I only do that for certain people, and at certain times I won't do that for you." And that medicine person started getting sick, and then he used a different type of medicine to where he was able to see what happened and what was going on, and realized that it was one of those SWs. And so what I'm saying is they're really up to no good. They're bad. They're just like really evil people is what they are. And they're, from what I understand, can't make themselves look like spirits, like ethereal, like that. They're not. I'm sure they might have some medicine, some of them that can do things like that, but from what I understand, it's not like that. So that's why I'm hesitant to believe that it's a SW and it was just a spirit, because you don't answer them when. Okay, so back all the way up. The first mistake in my mind that went down, and it's not because you were trying to make the mistake, you were just a kid, you were innocent. So that's why they give you a pass a lot of times, is when you're innocent and you don't know any better. They'll give you a pass, right? They won't punish you for whatever reason. They'll let you go. But anytime anybody that's listening comes onto a native reservation or anything like that, and you're being told by them not to do certain things, just listen to them. That's the main thing, is just listen to them, because they're not saying that to creep you out or anything. They're saying that to protect you.
Right.
And so when you do that at night, when you whistled those 2 times, it scared me. It's dark here and I got scared. I don't know, don't do that. But yeah, you don't, because you call them in. And I mean, there's so many things that can happen. Not only can you call in spirits, but you can also call in those Bigfoot. They'll come to that too. Anything that's out there will like to come to that. And when they're asking to be let in, when they're talking to you, like, especially if you hear them call your name, you don't answer them. You don't, because a little quick story here. I was walking from the main community to an outer community, and it's just through this field. It's like, geez, 200 yards. There's this hill out there, like this mound. As I'm walking and going from my in-laws' house to the other in-laws' house, I'm walking across that field, and I hear somebody on that hill, "Rod!" And I thought it was like some of my friends that were sitting up there, like maybe tipping one back or something. I didn't even think. I just spun and I said, "Yeah." Oh God, I looked and there was nobody up on that hill, and I just, from that moment, I start praying. I knew it because you're not supposed to answer him, and I did. I knew I made a mistake, but I did all these precautions to make sure it didn't follow me, and it didn't. But that's what he was doing. He was trying to make a barrier so that that thing couldn't get in there and start bothering around with everybody because a lot of things can happen with that. So that's why all natives, like a lot of them, they'll close their curtains at night is because of that. It's one of those same protocols that most of us it's universal across the tribes. You don't look outside at night. You close your curtains. It's one of those things because just like whistling, if you look out, it's just like that too. There's stories of people getting their faces twisted where it looks like you've had a stroke and you have to go get that doctor to fix it. There's all kinds of horrible things that can happen with these, and these are passed down. I'm talking from, geez, the water days on forward. I mean, probably before that, well before any train was ever even invented, or any engine or anything. This knowledge comes from like 10,000, 15,000 years ago. It's passed down to all of us till today because long time ago they were more in touch with that spiritual side. Today you have all this doubt that clouds your spiritual vision, I guess you'd say. And they didn't have that, so they knew of what these things were and what they could do. So yeah, that was a spirit you called that night, and it would attach itself to you. It can. And that guy, well, he must have had something with him. He might have had helpers too that was, pleading with him. Maybe he put an offering out for you so that it would leave you alone. I don't know, but whatever he did, he got it to leave you alone. And that's a crazy story, but yeah, I see what happened there, and I think that's what happened there. If I was to kind of guess, that would be my intuition, was thinking that's what happened. You called the spirit and the guy saved you because you were innocent. If you weren't innocent and you were just doing that, things might have not have went so easy on you.
Yeah, what like what do you think it wanted at the house? And they could like change their voices because I heard my mom's voice and the
Yeah.
boyfriend's voice. Or is it like more, is that just in my head?
No, they can. And the thing is sometimes you'll hear them talking, but everybody else around you can't hear them talking.
Yeah.
Like that's happened to me before too, in a sweat. Could hear them talking, but nobody else could hear them. It was really weird. But anyways, what's more is not only can they change their voice, they can change their language. Like you could speak with them in, let's just say, the most ancient Chinese dialect that there ever is. You can speak with them in that, and you'll understand them. You'll speak to them back at the same time they're speaking to you. But once they're done talking to you, you can't talk that language no more. It's really weird, but there's no language barrier to them. There's none at all. And yeah, they can make themselves sound like other people to trick you. That's why the good ones don't do that. That was a bad one that did that. And that's what you call. That's why we don't do that at night, because it calls bad ones. Yeah.
Right.
And just one more thing too, you guys. Don't burn sage at night. It does the same thing as whistling at night. It's the same effect. So you guys don't burn sage at night. I've said this before, but I'll say it again because it's so important. If you're going to borrow anything from native cultures, ask them how to go about it first. I would just say that. Don't say, "Oh, I read it in a book." No, ask somebody from a tribe or somewhere if they know how you do it, and then go from there, because you can make a mistake. Because this is kind of in the new age, I don't know, whatever, but a lot of times they get that wrong. And if you guys pay attention to some of the videos on YouTube where people are actually being haunted and you can tell it's real, it's not no baloney, and they burn sage at night, it gets worse. Watch for that and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Thank you so much, Lot Shells. I've been saving that story for when I saw you. So I really appreciate your input.
That was a great story. Thanks for sharing it, though. And I'm sorry it happened to you.
It wasn't scary to me. That's the craziest thing. And when you're saying it's a bad spirit, that makes me feel like, oh shoot, because I thought she was like protecting me or something. Because she Yeah, I definitely felt like she spared me. I feel like I almost feel like she came to either scare me or punish me or like lecture me somehow or something like that. But then she took pity on me and was kind of like, "Oh, you're interesting," or like, "You're curious. You're not scared of me. You should be scared of me." You're or like I don't know. She like I don't know. But yeah, for whatever reason, she let me go and didn't really. I don't remember any punishment really from that interaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were innocent.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Sure, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for conversing and telling that story, and that was fantastic. I enjoyed listening to that. Really,
Yeah.
very cool. Ollie, how you been? What's going on?
I've been okay working. I was working. I had to come home, close some charts, then do some department head stuff, and then now I have to get up in the morning and go to
It's just
meetings.
me.
But I liked what Lodge said. Wanted to piggyback off of that for certain things. A lot of people don't realize that, yes, like, you know how he was saying, and somebody in the comments was also experiencing, when you use um, sage or something like that at night, things can get worse, especially depending on what energy or what is haunting you. Certain energies, certain things have certain weaknesses and certain amplifiers or aggressors. um, you have to be very sure before y'all use a certain thing, right? Like, for example, in the movies, you can use a whole bunch of things, but only silver can kill a werewolf or unalive a werewolf. Oops. Um,
It's some vampires too.
yeah, and so, right, and then you can try everything else, so it's just gonna make them more angry. Think of it that way in the spiritual world. It's just gonna make them more angry. Um, Herbs and crystals have both amazing healing and beneficial and powerful protective properties, but they can be used for the opposite as well. There's always two sides to a leaf. So just to throw that out there.
So, the I wasn't sure if people noticed me and Shiny Crow were talking in chat because she actually showed me something from our Bjaltena festival that we had that I didn't catch. Um, so we had probably roughly about 20 people there, give or take. It was a potluck and there was a fire, and two individuals were doing, no, technically three individuals, come to think about it, were doing ceremony and rite over the bonfire. I did one in Huelga. The one that is the co-owner of the local paranormal group did one in Huelga as well, and then we also had a Norse pagan that did I guess you would say like a benediction or whatever you want to call it towards Freyr and Freya. But there was photographs that were taken, and she caught one that actually kind of startled me because while the entire picture was crystal clear, there was one individual that was completely blurred. I thought that was interesting, especially in a setting in the forest when we're essentially trying to call forth those you would refer to as the good neighbors. And that was literally just this weekend.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What I missed so far.
Oh, I
So
might
far,
have
so
summoned a
not.
fairy.
um, We've had a pretty wild night, Ollie. It's been busy and it's been slow, and it's been interesting because this is our first night of the marathon. So, um, looks like Raven is in the box. You guys want me to bring up Raven?
Yes.
Alrighty.
And hi, Raven.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mama pushed me to tell this. I get shy. So my family owns a what is it? Summer cabin. And the first time I remember going out there, we couldn't find where it was. It was nighttime and we were driving down the road and we saw this lady and we asked for directions and she said, "Yeah, I live next door. I could ride up there with you." And she rode with us and we were driving and talking to my parents were talking to her and I was looking out the window at the forest and coyote jumps right in front of us and we swerve and everything and we look behind us to make sure we didn't hit the coyote and everything and we see this little native girl running away giggling and I was looking at my parents were like, "Who's this girl? Like, did you guys see this girl?" And the lady just shrugs it off. "Oh, that's Vicky." And she looks at me and I think she says, "You two are going to be good friends." So we get there and the next day happens and some little girl is peeking through my window and it's the little girl I saw. And we start to hang out and I start to play with her and it gets dark and the coyotes start howling and she looks at me very upset and she's like, "I gotta go now." I've known Vicky every now and then for years after that, and every time I go to the summer lodge, she was there. Um, Unfortunately, Vicky got unalived. Someone shot her, and the creepy part about her, the rest of the story is her grave looks every now and then. It looks like dogs have digged at it, and that's all I got on her.
Wow, that's really weird. Especially, I don't know if you heard my story that I did a while back about the grave digger creature. There is a cryptid that is said to do that as well. Um, that's just what it made me think of. But, well, we appreciate you, Raven. You always do a good job telling your stories. I know you said you get shy, but
Yeah, we have like 300 people in here, so
you always do good and you always have good stories. But, yeah, thank you for
What?
coming up.
Yeah.
We don't bite
yeah.
That was
often.
great.
Hard.
I'm just very
Oh.
shy and timid.
Little trivia for you guys. Raven was one of my first guests all the way back a year or two ago. So,
Oh.
yep.
It was a
Has
very
it been
good
that long?
thank you.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's
it's
been
been
a
that
long time.
long.
I don't remember exactly how long, but it's been at least a year, maybe like a year and a half. I'm not sure. I've lost track of time. Everything since 2020 is a blur. I don't even know.
Yeah, I feel ya. 2020
Yeah,
was the longest decade.
it was for sure.
All right,
Alrighty,
well,
well,
I'll be in the chatterbox area.
okie dokie.
You did great.
Thanks, Raven. Guys, let's try to get to 100K tonight. We don't have a lot of time left, but that'd be cool. That's the goal for tonight. I don't know if we can get there, but it would be amazing.
I'm a
Yeah, that
tapping.
would
I'm
be.
trying. Hi, Pops.
Yeah, yeah. Don't strain yourself, though, guys.
Yeah,
Pops
don't
the
strain
Druid
your
is a fellow
fingers.
druid, as you see from the name.
Oh,
Got to keep
yeah,
those
welcome.
fingers in shape though, because we'll be here every night this week, guys. We're gonna try to anyway. I won't say like I might make it to Thursday and then just be like, I need a break. I don't know. I'll try not to, but first night of
Yeah.
marathon week, it's going really good so far. So I think we are ready for marathon week. Hopefully, we got a guest.
Ooh. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Are
You
we
got a spooky
talking
story?
about haunted things?
We are talking about spooky stuff. Your spookiest spooky story is what we want to hear.
Okay. I'm from New Orleans, and I've seen a lot of hauntings down there. Uh, I went to Thibodeau one time, Thibodeau, Louisiana, and I went to a plantation house. When I walked in the yard, me and my daughter, we could feel spirits hanging from the trees. They were slaves. And I told my daughter, I don't think I want to go in that house. And she said, Come on, Mom. And I said, No, just them hanging in the trees are scaring me.
Yeah, for sure. We do ask that you try to like not use certain types of language here, though, because of TikTok's rules. So, but we definitely want to hear your story. Just try to be careful with how you say things.
But I also went in a hotel, and we didn't know it was haunted. But somebody told us it was haunted, and I said, I don't believe it. And my daughter goes, Mom, they got the dead walking all the way through New Orleans. And I said, I know. And but some people can see the dead walking through New Orleans. New Orleans is a very haunted city, and it's got a lot of people that do voodoo and don't care. They put voodoo on cops. They put voodoo on anybody that crosses them. They don't care.
Voodoo initially is not necessarily a negative spiritual practice. It's just another, polytheistic, spiritual based religion that, there's a bit of shamanism mixed in there too. But I mean, they're no different really in their practice, say, than any other form of paganism, except for the fact that they may have different structure and laws and whatnot in regards to their view of morality. But like, I actually know people that practice voodoo, and they're not evil or dark people.
Well, where I'm from, they say if you do voodoo on people, it'll come back on you 10 times flow. So, what do you think of that?
I think that it might be a superstition or something like that. I have a mentor that is a voodoo priestess. I'm also good friends with the owner of Voodoo Authentica there. And these are people that, though they practice, they've never, they're not malicious people. They're not, doing anything against anyone. I suppose with every branch of ritualistic magic, there's always going to be a price to pay in order to perform certain incantations or spells, uh, depending upon which entity or deity that you're calling upon.
What did you say?
In reference to what?
I don't understand you. Okay, I was born and raised in New Orleans, okay?
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans is the city of the walking dead. You could feel it all the way around when you walk in that city. And it's when I was young, my mama used to bring me to a voodoo lady to heal us. She was a healer, but because she had 8 kids, she couldn't afford a doctor. So this woman was not evil, but they got some evil voodoo people in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, I mean, with any type of practice, you're going to find, people that won't necessarily use their skills for the benefit of others, but as a general rule, people that tend to practice different magical paths more often than not are not necessarily malicious. But I agree, there are definitely people out there that do use it for malice.
Yes. I haven't been there in years. I don't want to go. It's gotten worse. I don't want to be around them.
I don't know. I'd feel right at home down there.
Not me. Because I know how it is. I grew up with it. We lived in the projects in the 5th Ward. And I seen people dig up graves and throwing it on the balconies in the projects.
Well, we do appreciate you coming up and sharing your stories with us. We have some people waiting, so we're going to
Okay.
move on to the next one. But thank you
I
so
gotta
much
go
for
to
coming
bed
up. We
anyway.
appreciate you. Yeah. Well, good
Okay.
night.
Thank you.
I'll come back.
Alrighty, hun.
Yeah, thank you for the story.
I love New Orleans and I love the whole voodoo scene and all that. That's like, it's my dream to go there and like get to experience all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that I would love to do eventually too. Because, like I said, I have friends down there that I've only known for years via like MySpace and back then. But I would love to actually sit down and talk with them face to face for once.
Yeah, me too. Welcome, Snake. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Oh, hanging in there.
Oh, I'm feeling. Although I am good, I haven't been to sleep yet. I'm in the UK and it's like 6:30
Right
in the
on.
morning.
Yeah, definitely late here too. You got a spooky story for us?
Yeah, so a bit of background on where I'm from. Where I grew up is like this. It's a town that dates back to back to the Roman times. It's also an old smuggling town. There's old tunnels running underneath. We also have a church that's the oldest place of learning in the UK. So it's a place with a lot of history. And I remember me and a friends were in this field. This was going back about 19, 20 years ago. And it was pretty open. You could see both ends of the fields, even though it was the middle of the night. It was on a full moon as well, so it was quite well lit up. And we started hearing this. It was like a scream, but it was a whispered scream. If I'm making sense of that. Um, and it sounded pretty almost demonic, sort of screaming at the same time. It was really freaky. Um, and I've had loads of other experiences in other parts of this town as well. The church that I was talking about, the moment that you walk through the doors, you get hit by this massive negative wave of energy, being stalked by weird shadows in the middle of the night as well. It's so many different experiences to speak of just in this one small little town. It's kind of I don't know. Like, I've heard of different possibilities of what this of what the first I explained to you with the screaming. I've had one or people say that's possibly a banshee. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just speaking of it again. Like, you know what I mean?
Banshee,
Yeah,
that'd be
definitely.
my wheelhouse.
Yep.
Ben, sorry, can you say again?
I was saying banshees enter a little bit into my wheelhouse. So the thing about at least the folklore about banshees is they tend to only follow people that are a direct lineage of 5 different royal families in Ireland. Um, I can't exactly remember. I know it's the Kavanaghs, the O'Briens. Um, I'd have to look it up, but I can't remember the other 3. And at least that's what the folklore goes into. But banshee in the old Irish, which means woman of the mounds. It wasn't until much later that they became associated with malevolent spirits, supposedly that were the portents to take you out of this life, as it were. And sometimes it wasn't even just the banshee, but there was another figure that would often do the same thing, which was the Coach de Bohar, the death coach, which was pulled by the Dullahan, which was later became what we know of as the Headless Horseman. But yeah. Yeah.
I do have Celtic blood. Whether or not it's Irish, I can't 100% say, but so who knows what relations I'm. 'Cause I mean, like, where Celtic area that I'm from was actually quite at war with the Irish for a long time as well. So I don't know if it,
Yeah, you may possibly have, far enough back, you might have lineage to one of those families. So, and yeah, that's another one too, is the Wash at the Ford, which was a washer at the Ford. Like that tends to. I've seen it in Irish folklore, but I've also seen it in Scottish folklore as well. It tends to correlate with an Morrigan. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. That'll be Welsh as well, if I remember rightly, with Morrigan.
Yep, she just kind of makes her way all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the main part of my heritage is Welsh, as far as I'm aware. But
Cymru. Okay.
um, yeah, I know there's, I know, oh, I don't know. Sorry, my tiredness has made me lose track of my own thoughts here. I do apologise.
That's all right. Me and Chris tonight are both exhausted, so we're kind of going through the same thing. So,
Yeah.
It's just a good thing I got today off work, isn't it?
yep.
Oh.
All right. Well,
Anyway, that's my spooky story anyway, and thank you for your input. It's much appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing
We
that with us.
appreciate you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Appreciate you as well. I'm gonna drop everyone a follow if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chris, you saw my comment?
Hold on. When did you put it?
Right after the 100K likes.
Oh. Oh yeah. By the way, thanks guys for 100K likes. That's really cool that we reached that goal. I didn't think it was gonna happen, and then just out of nowhere. Oh, okay. Yeah, I will definitely do mukbang noodles.
Oh, here Chris goes. He's going to make promises he doesn't want to keep later.
I join him on that one. I just kind of always wanted to just chow down because every time I see a mukbang, I'm just like, oh man, I'm jello. I want to eat some too.
Werewolf, I would totally be down to do the one chip challenge.
Oh, you would?
Oh yeah.
Interesting, because everybody hears a bunch of babies and nobody wants to do it with me.
Got it out.
Y'all can have fun with all that. I'm just gonna stick to my trick or treat candy.
There you go. That's the smart decision. All right, we've got Lee. Let's welcome Lee to the panel.
Hi,
Thank you all
welcome.
for the gifts too, by the way. Welcome, Lee.
Hi.
You got a spooky story for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's more of like a wholesome paranormal story. So basically, my sister lost her boyfriend in 2019 to a car accident. It was very tragic. It was her boyfriend, his little sister, and his father who had passed away. He had passed away about a week after the accident. He was in the ICU. And so when he had passed away, of course, my sister was devastated and she was looking for anything as a sign, but nothing, was being shown to her. And, she just kind of lost faith in everything that could be shown and just completely disregarded anything. And yeah, it was terrible. But those Funko Pop figures? So
Yeah.
my sister had on her TV, she had all of these figures on there. And it's a thin TV. If anything hits it, all of them are going to fall. He had one specific one. It's from the anime Death Note. Ryuk is that character, and me and my sister were literally talking about signs, like from people who have passed on. And when we were talking about that one specific figure had fallen down. And, of course we stopped and we just started laughing because we were just like, oh, that was very clear. Like, there's no doubt about it. And also with his father, the house that they were in, the only person who had survived that family was the mother. They had a karaoke machine that only the father knew how to turn on. And when she had went home from the hospital after he had passed away, the karaoke machine turned on by itself. I know that's like really short, but it's still like something I constantly think about every day.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I guess he was trying to let everybody know he was hanging around, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's sad, but, gotta move on. And he's definitely saying, this is your sign to move on. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we appreciate you so much sharing that with us.
No problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you guys have a good night. I need to go to sleep. I gotta work tomorrow.
Alrighty, you too. Bye-bye.
You'll have a good one.
Thanks. That was wholesome. Very sweet.
Yeah.
All right, we've got about 15 minutes left in the show. We've got Mark coming up to tell us a spooky story, hopefully. We don't know. He might tell us something wild and crazy. We're going to find out.
Mark.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Hello, Mark.
Hello?
Ground control to Major Tom.
Maybe Mark accidentally requested. So Mark, I'm going to go ahead and drop you just in case it was an accident. If you do want to come up, feel free to hop back in the box.
It's so late. You know what? It would be a cool idea to do a seance.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Don't tempt me. I do have a Ouija board.
Oh.
Could we?
Live on TikTok.
Druid, I'll put you in the big box and we'll like see if we can get a hold of something or somebody.
It's just I need more followers first to go live.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm working on it. I promise.
Everybody follow Druid.
Speaking of which, I haven't plugged the box in a while, or whatever it is Chris calls it. I don't even know. So, I don't think I can. I'm so tired. I don't know if I could do this, Chris. Do you want to give it a try?
What,
Oh, man.
the subscription or the guest box?
Just everything that I usually say. I don't know.
Well, we have about maybe like about 10 minutes left. So if anybody wants to come in and tell a quick story, go for it. Don't be shy. Don't be nervous. We're a bunch of nerds here, besides myself. And yeah, we do have the subscription. It's on the bottom left corner of the screen, and you'll get access to cool emojis that you can put in the comments. We have the Discord where we have a lot of fun over there. We post memes, we post all kinds of paranormal stuff, and then we have Discord calls where we talk about all kinds of stuff. And it's just really fun, and it's definitely worth the price because we have it set at the lowest price that TikTok would allow us to have it.
Yes, it cannot go any lower. But yeah, you get instant access to the Discord, and that is a great way to be part of the community and show some support. So definitely feel free to hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to follow me. Turn on post notifications so they get notified when I go live. There's a little bell at the top of my profile. You'll see it. Hit that little bell, turn on all notifications, and you will never miss another live stream. And we are doing Marathon Week, in case you just wandered in and you don't know what in the hell we're doing up here. We're gathering around the Holler Goblin, as we tend to do, usually on Sunday and Monday nights. But this week we're attempting to do 7 days in a row of ghost story streams. So we will be here every night this week, hopefully, barring any types of catastrophe. But we'll be here at 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. probably. Always got to add like a little disclaimer on there just in case. But yeah, be sure to follow, turn on notifications, and definitely hang out with us this week because it is going to be wild for sure. And it looks like we do have a couple of guests. Oh no, wait, we have Chris. Chris disappeared. I didn't even notice. Lord of mercy. Welcome back, Chris.
You left us.
I had to. Sorry, guys. I had to switch phones. My main phone was dying.
No worries.
All right, we got one more for the night, probably.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
You guys having trouble hearing the guest? I am.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just wanting to bring up a few experiences I've had. I hope you can understand my accent.
Understand you quite clear.
That's brilliant, mate. I think the main one that really pops into my head very often is I used to own a cafe in Scotland, a place called Glasgow, and I was driving back from my cafe, dropping off a few people that worked for me, and I looked over towards where there's multi-storey flats, high flats. I looked up and I'd done a bit of research, and there used to be police stables there. When I was driving past my car, I went and seen what I seen clearly. The front half of a horse halfway through a fence, and that always stuck in my head. It was very bizarre, it was clear as day. There was another time I was sitting with my mother just before she died, and we were talking about family members who had passed away, and a big ball of light came out of her lamp and shot across the room right up to where a crucifix was. It was in all my family members' hands that had passed away or was dead. The crucifix was put in their hands, and yeah, there was nothing that would have drawn a surge of light in that direction of the room up towards the mantelpiece. So to me, that was definitely a sign. And I won't lie. I've had addiction issues in my past. My father passed away back in 2000, and I was in the bathroom doing illicit drugs, which I shouldn't have done. He was totally against that. I was the only person in the house, and the bathroom handle door started shaking really violently. So it was like telling me, I interpreted this stuff as like to give myself a shake. When I seen half the horse halfway through the fence, it was telling me I'm only half the man I could be, and the ball of light was telling me to see the light before it's too late. That's just how I interpret these things.
Absolutely. It seems as though you may have encountered, at least with the horses, possibly an apparition of something that stood there, ages before the building that's there now, and there might have been like a like a
Yeah, there
something
was
that may have caused.
there used to be stables there for the police horses.
Hmm. And then the
Yeah,
other one,
so
it sounds almost like maybe it was. You said that the ball of light came from the person had passed away, or from the, or you said
no,
it went
from
into.
a light that was beside my mum, a lamp,
Uh-huh.
and a big like, a ball of light shot across the room. And I said to my mum, I says, "Did you just see what I seen there?" And she says, "I think so." I says, "What did you see?" And she says, "It looked like a strobe light came by my face." I says, "It was certainly bigger than that. It was like a ball of light." So I was further away and I could see it clearly. And it just went right up to the crucifix, like speed of lightning, and then right back into the lamp again. So to me, that was just another sign that there was some sort of presence round about, listening to what we were
Yeah.
talking about. We were talking about family members that had passed away and stuff like that. So that's just how I see that.
Yeah. Sounds like an orb, which most people would assume that an orb has a spiritual presence. So yeah.
I mean, it definitely wasn't like an orb. I don't know if you've ever seen like some of the videos on YouTube and stuff like that, where you see like power surges, like balls of like big balls of light going across railway stations and stuff. It was something like that, but there was nothing at the other side of the room, no electrical fittings behind the wall, any wiring, anything like that would have drawn a surge towards there. The only thing that caught my attention was the crucifix, as I say, that was in family members' hands that had passed away. So yeah, that
Right.
was a bit bizarre.
Maybe they were visiting you.
I absolutely believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
As
a
I
pretty
say,
amazing
I
story.
kind of interpret all these things as, like, as I say, like the half a horse was telling me I'm only half the man I could be. The ball of light was telling me to see the light before it's too late. The bathroom door handle shaking violently was telling me to give myself a shake.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of good symbolism in there, and especially if it's helping you through such a tumultuous time in your life, then
Yeah,
I suppose that it came to you when it needed to.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my brothers also said, like, I mean, I used to do a fair bit of, like, my own personal, like, little investigation stuff up my loft, like my ghost box and stuff like that. And I won't lie, I used to, when I stayed in Ireland before I moved back to Scotland, I stayed there for 10 years. And my ex-partner was into witchcraft and stuff. We used to do mirror spells and stuff like that. And I seen a lot. I never used to believe in magic stuff like that, but I definitely seen some really spooky stuff. Like,
I just did magic this weekend, so
yeah, there's definitely something in there. There definitely is. She went and done the mirror spell, and we went and seen, like, we seen three faces behind us. You could make two of them out clearly, but the third one you couldn't clearly. And the thing is, she never closed the mirror spell down. So I think that created a lot of negativity in the house.
yeah. You always
Absolutely.
make sure that after you've done a ritual, make sure that you close said ritual. Otherwise, you can invite other things in. Yes.
Yes, definitely, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened in the house. Like, one time I was falling asleep, we were lying on bed together, and our heads kind of like fell against each other as we fell asleep. And it was like some big static noise came in my face, like a radio noise, like a big right in my faces, and both of us jumped up. That was one experience. And another time I took a picture when she was lying on the bed, and I seen what looked like a double ganger. It looked like her definitely from behind, but it was taller. So there was definitely a lot of negativity in the house after that, and I don't even know she knew how to shut the mirror spell down.
It depends on, I guess, her practice and how amateurish she is or whatnot. But
I was
yeah,
just
I mean,
being
it can be
all
very
life, yeah.
dangerous if you're not practicing magic appropriately.
Yeah, She was definitely pretty ignorant to a lot of the stuff she would do, and she was brutal about it. She was doing all sorts of spells every day, hexing people, and a lot of negativity, and that's just not good.
Hmm. I mean, hexing and cursing does have its place, but again, it's not something that you necessarily do just because somebody slighted you. There has to be a valid reason if you're going to be doing any of the baneful works like that on someone. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Hellfire Club wasn't far away from her in Dublin, so we went up there a couple of times. A lot of bizarre people hung about up there, I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, very, very strange characters. But I know they went and done a bit of expediting in the grounds round about there, and apparently they found the body of a dwarf that was buried on the ground right beside the Hellfire Club. So I wonder if that was a human sacrifice.
Quite possible. I mean, I've definitely heard of the Hellfire Club.
Hmm.
I think, if I remember right, Benjamin Franklin was part of it.
That's correct, aye. I mean, it was actually constructed as a hunting lodge by the son of some rich duke or something it was, and it fell into a state of disrepair. And now it's just used for rituals and a lot of black magic. Like, it attracts all sorts of bizarre people. But I mean, I don't live too far away from Edinburgh in Scotland, and that's got a fascinating history about the witch trials and that, the witches that were burnt and all that. A lot of people think witches were burnt everywhere. They weren't. That was a Scottish practice.
I actually got to visit Edinburgh. It's a really nice place. I got to
Very
tour through the
historic.
castle and whatnot,
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, I've never been down to Mary King's Close, but that looks well spooky.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to get down there.
I need to go back at some point. I need to check out some of the places that I didn't get a chance to visit when I was over there last.
Yeah. In Greyfriars Kirkyard, the graveyard where the English actually held all the rebels like prisoner inside those grounds, that's quite active, that place. I mean, they were just held in the graveyard as like a prison, and they all died in there and stuff like that. So I think that's got a lot of pumping activity.
I did remember there was a church that I visited in Berwick upon Tweed where supposedly one of the limbs of Scottish rebel Sir William Wallace had been kept, basically as a warning by the English.
Not to rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing I think was very bizarre, the heart of come on, St Valentine. That's actually kept in Scotland as well. It was brought there by it was brought there by Roman conquerors and somebody way back then. Anyway, days of the Roman Empire. And it was kept for safekeeps in Scotland. Yeah, so I'd like to visit that as well. I just think it's bizarre that it's kept in a wee place called Scotland.
Right. Well, I mean, the whole thing about keeping relics and bones and stuff from the different saints, because supposedly they were believed to have some type of divine power since they came from holy, the holiest of holy men or women.
Yeah. Yeah, but history is definitely fascinating. Very important.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a passion of mine.
Yeah. Hey, well, I just wanted to jump in and just say what I had to say there.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much. Very cool stories. We really
I
enjoyed
mean, I
that.
didn't want to try and type all that out, man. I think my fingers would have been cramping up if I tried to type all that.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Right, thank you, guys. Catch you later.
All right.
It was a good chat.
Goodbye. Thanks, bro. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, I love that. That was great. Perfect way to end the night, guys. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Bean. Bean is wrestling me to the floor. All right, guys, we are done for the night. If you were here and you had a story, we will be back tomorrow night. So if we did not get to you for some reason, we'll be back here at 11 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. We're doing marathon week. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be huge. I couldn't help myself. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us. And we hope to see you all back here with us tomorrow night. I'm very tired, so I'm not very good at this. Chris, you want to say, anybody want to say anything?
I'm dying over here. Just thanks, guys. It was actually a pretty good stream. I appreciate you guys reaching 100K for us. Thanks to all the guests, all the viewers. I'm tired. I don't know what I'm saying. Ali, help me out.
Please follow if you haven't followed already. Follow Sarah. Click that follow button. Follow Chris. Follow Druid. Follow everyone on the panel if they want you to. And the subscribe button is that little star you see right there where it says add comment. So go ahead and subscribe and join the crazy Discord.
The shenanigans.
Yeah, so all the shenanigans, and get your spooky stories going. If you don't have one, try to go to a graveyard. You know what? I think I'm gonna tell y'all a graveyard story tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds good.
And if we get to, I guess, a goal, what would be a good goal to have? Like maybe a seance night.
We'll get oiled up and we'll do a seance live on TikTok.
Dun dun dun.
Why do we have to be oily to do it?
Why?
Well, I don't know. We just gotta make it interesting.
Tina
You have to be
said
well
200K
lubricated to
likes.
squeeze into the spirit world. I don't know.
Right.
There you go. 200K likes.
Oh boy. All right, and also guys, don't forget my mod, Folking Weird. Chris, can you type it in the comments, the spelling of it, so everybody knows? Go to Folking Weird and give them a follow. We appreciate you guys so much. Hurry up and type that. Hurry.
I can't. I'm not used to this phone. Wait. Hold on. All right, there.
Folking Weird, guys. All right, everybody, we appreciate you. An oily seance incoming tomorrow night. We'll see you all later.
Bye.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good evening.